too easily.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Hines versus Wims Davis step forward.
Margaret Hines is suing hairstylist Valinda Wims Davis for burning her scalp during a hair treatment.
Ms. Hines, it is your claim that the defendant, due to negligence, burned your scalp during the hair process.
Yes, Your Honor.
The defendant says that she did not and that she's got a counterclaim for slandering her business. What kind of process were you having done to your hair?
A curly perm.
Had you ever had that process done before?
Several times.
Had you ever had a reaction to the process before?
No, ma'am.
When did you have the process done at the defendant's salon?
It would have been the Saturday after Thanksgiving, which was, I want to say, the 24th.
Had you ever been to the salon before?
No.
What brought you to the salon?
We were in the area.
Who's we?
My husband and I. He works that way, and he needed a haircut. So he went and had his haircut there. And so I thought, well, it's been a while since I had my hair done. She was very busy that Friday, so she said, I'll put you in at 10 a.m. tomorrow. And I went back, and I had to wait till 3. And she done the perm.
When she did the perm, did you sense anything when she put the solution on you?
Not immediately when she put it on, but she was doing, there were several other heads that she was doing. They were wrapped up in eating leftover Thanksgiving that her brother warmed up in the microwave. They had the Auburn-Alabama game going.
No. You didn't start to feel any discomfort for how long?
About an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Well, what's the normal time to have that process on your hair?
She said about 2 hours, probably not that long because I wanted big curls instead of small. My boys left, went out, came back 2 hours. I was there another hour to hour and 15 minutes, still in a chair, still with the chemicals. I informed her that my head was burning. She took the dryer off.
It was under a dryer?
I was under the dryer.
For 2 hours?
No, for about, I say about an hour and 20 minutes. And I kept telling her my head is on fire. So she turned the dryer off, pulled the cap back, and continued to go rinse another lady's hair out while I sat there with the chemicals still in the dryer chair.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I looked at her scalp. I neutralized. I asked her how she felt. She said, fine. I offered to give her part of her money back. She said, no, I'm fine. And she went on.
Part of my money
No. The next thing I got was a subpoena on December 18th.
You burned her scalp.
I didn't neglect.
You burned her scalp.
Most homeowners draw a blank when asked what their home projects should cost. That's
Wims Davis burned her scalp during a hair treatment.
Do you have any photographs or any medical reports?
Yes, ma'am, I sure do.
Okay.
And I also have this evidence of my hair, Your Honor, where it came out, matted together.
Okay.
Ms. Davis, the plaintiff had chemical burns of the scalp. I know that because the next day she was treated for those at urgent care. Do you understand? That happened at your salon.
No, Judge Judy, that did not happen. I know it. The paper says superficial burns, and superficial burns are the mildest burn that a person could get. If I had burned her hair, I would have noticed that there's no way that I would let a chemical stay on a person's hair more than the required time.
Ms. Davis,
I know what she got there.
She went twice. She went the day after your visit.
No, ma'am. She came to me on the 20th, Judge Judy. I have my evidence right here. I have my appointment where I wrote her appointment down. She did not come to me on the date that she said. She came to me on November 20th, which is the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. I don't work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday normally, but because it was a holiday, I worked that Tuesday because my family and I traveled to Charlotte.
Listen to me, you're talking too much.
Okay.
Is what you're telling me that this was not an appointment on Saturday?
No, exactly. When Yes, ma'am.
I want you to rethink. You said that this was the Saturday after Thanksgiving. Is that when you went there?
I want to say I'm positive it is.
Okay.
Alabama,
would you
Auburn
stand up, please?
Zone.
Your Honor, we went to the hair salon on Friday.
When did you have your hair cut?
I had my hair cut on that Friday.
The Friday after Thanksgiving?
Yes. And then Friday, I went and got my hair and my son's hair cut and she set the appointment for Saturday the next day.
Judge Judy, can I say something, please? Her husband said he came in on Friday, after Thanksgiving, the 23rd. He said she had an appointment the next day, which was the 24th. She only went to the urgent care center because when the subpoena that they sent me showed that she went to the urgent care center on the 26th. If her hair had been burnt so bad as she stated it, why did she wait? Even if she came in on the 24th, 2 days later, which is the 26th, that makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Well, I don't care if it makes sense to you or not.
Yes, ma'am.
Actually.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
Women get stronger and more resilient with age. So why can't our skin? Gold Bond Strength and Resilience. 84% saw improvement in skin texture in 5 days. Gold Bond.
Prevagen. You might take something for your heart, but do you take something for your brain? In clinical trials, Prevagen improves short-term memory. Prevagen, healthier brain, better life.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
It's tough to quit smoking cold turkey. So justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
I don't care if it makes sense to you. She had a chemical burn in her scalp, and it wasn't caused by anybody else who put that down. I don't have to, it's not show and tell.
Judge Judy, she came to me that 26th because she called me and said that my hair is burning. I said, we don't work on Mondays, but I said, I'll come in Monday. And she came in, I met her at the shop on Monday. I neutralized her hair, which is a solution that makes the chemical, if there's any chemical going on, the burn, it stops immediately. I looked at her scalp, I neutralized, I asked her how did she feel. She said, fine. I offered to give her part of her money back. She said, no, I'm fine. And she went on.
Part of my money.
Don't speak to her.
Yes, ma'am.
And she went on. I came in, then I gave her a follow-up treatment to tell her if you're still burning, even though I didn't see any abrasion, any redness, or anything on her scalp. She went to the urgent care center that evening. I gave her a follow-up. She never came back. The next thing I got was a subpoena on December 18th.
You burned her scalp.
I didn't neglect.
You burned her scalp.
I did not.
Yes, you did.
Judge Judy, I didn't burn her scalp.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,000. We're finished.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
A hot-headed boyfriend rages.
You don't get out of somebody's car unless you feel threatened.
Miss Corian said Jacob said he was going to kill me.
Judge Judy.
I called several times ago. What can I do? My hair is burning. Can I buy anything to stop it?
I have nothing to say.
No response. So I went to urgent care. Bottom line, that wasn't harassment. It was like, what can I do to stop this? Justice was served.
This is one of your two dogs. What's that box?
That's my dog that's deceased.
She puts the blame on the neighbor's pit bulls.
You could tell that they came through our fence.
Why didn't you fix the fence?
Because it wasn't my responsibility.
This is your fence.
Did bad decisions doom her pet?
Knowing what you knew, why in the world would you leave your dogs out for the day unsupervised? Not smart.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Sheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Rakisha Jones and her mother, Yvonne Sherrod, are suing neighbor Cherie Nunez Trammell and Cherie's landlord, Sun Win, for vet bills after Cherie's pit bull got into their yard and attacked their dogs.
Order. All rise. It's case number 101 on the calendar, the matter of Jones Sherrod versus Nunez Trammell Win.
Thank you.
Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat.
Who's going to speak for the two of you? Your first name is?
Rakisha.
Rakisha, this is one of your two dogs.
Correct.
What's that box?
That's my dog that's deceased.
Was that a result of this incident?
Yes.
The defendants are your neighbors, and you and your mother were going out to a family event on May what?
5th.
And your other dog was also a small dog, like this one.
Correct.
The neighbors have larger dogs, and there is a double fence that separates both houses. One fence is yours, one fence is theirs. So far, am I right?
Yes.
For some reason, you left both dogs, that little one and the dog that didn't make it, you left them outside in the fenced yard while you were going out for the day.
Yes.
And you had a prior instance where in August of last year, you claimed that the defendant's dogs got out of their yard and got into your yard.
Yes.
Is that right? And you say, luckily, your dogs weren't in the yard at that time.
Correct. I saw the dog coming through, and I hurried up and got my dog out and put him in the house.
So now I want to ask you this question, without getting into whose fault this was and where the dogs were. Why in the world would you leave your dogs out for the day unsupervised on May 5th?
I just left them out while we go to the party.
I understand that. Knowing what you knew, that their dogs were capable of coming through or burrowing through the fence, because you had seen it before, why in the world would you leave your two little dogs out in the backyard?
Well, when it happened, it occurred, the dog pound guy came because we kept trying to get them to fix our fence. The dog pound came and he put a border to block the hole until they was able to come and fix the fence. So we thought it was okay. It's been 9 months. So I was like, okay, we can leave our dog out just during the day, not too long, while we go to this party, because we couldn't bring the dogs.
Not smart.
Okay.
But it's your claim that the defendant's dog burrowed through the gate or the fence, came into your yard, and attacked your dogs.
Correct.
You weren't at home, correct?
Correct.
And your mother wasn't at home.
Correct.
The defendants say that your dogs burrowed through the gate and came into their yard, and they acknowledge that their dogs may have attacked your dogs when they came in, and then your dogs scurried back under the fence.
Okay.
That's what you say. So now I'd like to hear from a witness that you have.
Okay.
To suggest to me that their dogs came through the fence and attacked your dogs on your property. Who's the witness?
Right here I have my neighbor, Carol.
You can sit down with the puppy. Okay. Your last name is?
Malaria.
Can you tell me how long you have been neighbors and where your houses are in relation to each other?
Okay, my house is facing her side house, and I can see her gate on the back and on the side and the front. My front door and everything is facing her side.
Well, this happened in the backyard.
Yes, I can see the backyard.
I have a map showing if you want to see it.
I do. And what time of the day did you witness anything involving the dogs?
I could say maybe around 5:36, around in that area.
Tell me what you observed.
Okay, I was on my way out, and I was getting ready to go pick up my daughter-in-law and her family. They were coming over, and as soon as I got out my front door and I walked towards my car, I heard all this commotion, and I kept hearing the dogs hollering and everything, and I looked over there.
Look at me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I looked over there, and I saw them beating the dog with a big board.
Beating what dog with a big board?
Their dog.
Who was beating their dog with a big board?
I couldn't see the person that was beating. All I saw was a stick in the air coming down and welling on the dogs, and the dogs were hollering by the fence on their property.
So somebody on the defendant's property, you just saw a stick up.
Yes.
As if she was hitting a dog on her property.
Yes.
And what else did you see?
That was like 2 or 3 times they used stick.
You didn't see what they hit?
No, but you can hear the dogs hollering.
Could you tell whether it was the sound of a big dog or a small dog?
Well, all I know is when they hit the dogs went to the fence, and I could see the fence move as the dogs hit the fence.
As they were hitting the dog?
Yes.
But you didn't see which dog they were hitting?
That's correct.
What did you see next?
And then all of a sudden, I heard the commotion going, and then I noticed that the dogs went over into her property, and I heard the dogs.
Which dogs went over to her property?
The defendant's dog.
The defendant's dogs went to whose property?
Her property.
To the plaintiff's property?
The plaintiff's property.
Tell me exactly what you saw.
The dogs went fast because all I saw was the dogs fighting. They were fighting, and you hear the dogs howling.
Just a second.
Okay.
Which dogs were fighting? Could you see which dogs were fighting?
I just saw a brown dog over there.
How large a brown dog?
I really don't remember.
It wasn't a small dog like this.
No.
Now, when you saw the brown dog, where was the dog when you first saw it?
In their property, in the plaintiff's yard.
So you actually saw the dog come
yes.
either through or under the fence?
Yes.
Did you see that? I don't want you to answer if you didn't see it. Did you see the dog come under the fence?
No, I just heard the commotion.
You said that from your house you can see their backyard.
Yes.
If you heard fighting, are you telling me you didn't see where the fighting was coming from? Because if you saw where the fighting was coming from, then you saw the dogs.
That's correct.
Well, did you see the dogs? Be careful. Did you see the dogs or did you not see the dogs?
I didn't see the dogs fighting, but I just heard the commotion that they were doing, like they're fighting.
You heard a commotion?
Yes.
And you assumed that it was coming, so you never saw the brown dog come through the fence?
No.
And you never saw, or did you ever see, the 3 dogs in the defendant's backyard?
No.
You heard a commotion?
Yes.
And you saw somebody in the defendant's home apparently beating a dog with a piece of wood?
Yes.
You only saw the top of the piece of wood, but you heard the dog yelping?
Yes.
You can have a seat. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have pictures of the fence where you could tell that they came through our fence.
I'd like to take a look at them, because you do understand this witness did not see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a picture of the old and then the new, and then her dog in my backyard from August, chewing at the fence.
Whose fence is this?
That's my fence. That's from my backyard.
Whose fence is this?
My fence from my backyard. That's my fence, her dog in my backyard. Her dog in my backyard. Her
This
dog
is
in my
from
backyard.
August.
That's from August. The white pit is from August.
What I'd like you to show me is...
The dogs in the backyard?
No.
What?
You said you had proof to me that...
You could see the wood on my side, on the ground, as if it's bust through.
That's from August.
No, the darker pictures are recent. The one with the white dogs is... The one with the white dog is from August. The other ones are all recent, from May.
Why didn't you fix the fence?
Because it wasn't my responsibility.
It's your fence.
I kept trying to contact her, but she was never around. We talked to the kids, and they're always like, oh, that's our mom's problem. That's our mom's problem. Our mom's going to come fix the fence. We can never get a hold of her.
This is your fence.
It's my fence, but it's not my responsibility. They kept saying she was going to come and fix it. That was just when my dog got killed, so I didn't fix it. The other one, with the white board.
I see it. That's a year ago. Why didn't you fix it?
We did. We put a white border across it.
What does that mean, a white border? Show me.
The dog couldn't. It's in the picture. In one of the old pictures, you can see the white border and then the hole of the new fence. The dog pound put a border there to keep them.
Give her a pen, please.
Let me show her the white thing. That's May. That's August. The dog pound put a border there for them to come and fix the fence. I have papers from the dog pound, too.
May I see it?
I have papers of her on Facebook saying, how do you kill a dog twice? I have papers of her on there the very next day after they killed my dog, that she's trying to get rid of her dog.
Just a second.
Because she knew their dogs killed my dog.
Okay. So this is a temporary patch from a year ago, and this is from where?
May.
This is from May. Okay. Now, I want you to raise your hand. Who was hitting the dog with a stick? Raise your hand. Anybody here? Well, then you have the wrong person. Who are you?
I'm her cousin.
Stand up. Go over there. What's your first name?
Sierra.
Were you in the house on May 5th?
I was.
Who was hitting the dog with a stick?
Nobody was hitting a dog. None of us would ever do that.
Who was home with you?
I was there with my little cousins and their older brother.
Where were they?
My cousin Cherie, she was at a family barbecue, and I do not know where he was at the time.
They're the dog's owners?
Cherie was two of the dog's owners.
Just a second. So you were the only adult at home?
Yes.
Good. Switch places. You were the only adult at home?
Yes.
Go.
I was there, and I was in the kitchen, and I heard it sounded like a scuffle. So I went to the window to see, and I saw two little dogs in the backyard. And our dog Kane, the white pit, he's very defensive of the yard. Okay. Well, they were fighting, and so I banged on the window to make him stop, and then the two little dogs ran back under the fence.
And the two little dogs ran under the fence, and then what did you do? No, don't look down. Here. What did you do?
I walked away because after that, Kane went, sniffed the fence, walked away because they were no longer on the property.
You know that I don't believe that.
That's what happened, ma'am.
No, it's not what happened.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I have small dogs, and I have a fenced yard, and I would never go away for the day and leave my small dogs unattended in the backyard. That's irresponsible. It's not what a good parent does. And when you have a small dog like that, you have to treat it like a parent.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Rakisha Jones and her mother, Yvonne Sherrod, say neighbor Cherie Nunez Trammell and her landlord, Sun Win, are responsible for a dog attack.
Now, how old are you?
I am 24.
So you're 24 years old, and you're there watching two little children because they're away. Mm-hmm. And you see one of their dogs, which is a white pit bull, fighting with two little dogs that weigh maybe 3 pounds on your property. And according to the papers that she filed, the pit bull was very territorial because there were puppies around.
Yes.
And so you see the two little dogs going under the fence, and you don't go out and check on it?
No, I did not.
Why not?
Well, after that, the dogs, they didn't do anything.
But you don't know that. One of the dogs died. So you don't know what happened. Well, so an intelligent person would go outside and see where that could possibly have happened. How did they get underneath the fence? Maybe the pit bull can get back under the fence. An intelligent person would do that.
But the hole on our side of the fence was way too small for him to get through. He was a very large dog.
Show me. Is this your fence?
Yeah, from the inside of the gate.
This is your fence. I'm not looking at this. This is the top of the fence. The dog didn't go over. So who cares about the top? You have any other pictures of the whole fence? I want to see a picture of the whole fence.
I do in here. I have the view from the witness's side also.
No.
And then I have the...
I can see from the witness's side, listen to me, I can see from the witness's side that there's plenty of room on her fence for a large dog to get through. That doesn't mean that she didn't pull out this board. I know that. I have to see from your side whether there is room for your dog, which is the larger dog, to get through the fence.
You can kind of see through here. You can see how big it is on the other side of theirs.
I can't.
I have the other ones here.
I can't.
Maybe you can see on this one.
I'll take a look at it for
you. See their backyard with the trash can. That's from my backyard to theirs.
Is that where their trash can is over here?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I want to see. I want to see this area. Not this little tiny area. I want to see this area.
It's that one and that one.
Yeah. You have to take better care of your fence. I don't believe you. Do you understand?
Yes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
If their dog came into your yard, which I think it was probably trying to do, I don't know where the attack took place. You have to create a fence that keeps the dog inside. That piece of junk that you have there doesn't do it.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Rakisha Jones and her mother, Yvonne Sherrod, have accused neighbor Cherie Nunez Trammell and her landlord, Sun Win, of being responsible for a dog attack.
Okay, I believe this. By the way, you did call her and let her know that there was some sort of kerfuffle with their dogs.
Yes, I called my daughter-in-law, and she got in touch with her.
You see, she couldn't fib to me. Well, this is a fib because she never saw the dogs in your backyard, right?
Right.
She heard, but she never saw the dogs in your backyard. But she immediately reported them to you. And there's no question in my mind that when this lady said she saw somebody beating that dog at the fence, it had to have been you.
It was not me.
Then maybe it was a ghost. If you were the only one home.
I was not the only one home, but I can assure you, though, ma'am,
if you were the only adult home, then it had to be you.
I would not do that, ma'am. I have my own little dog myself. I would never.
This is not a little dog.
I know it's not a little dog.
This is not a little dog. This is a white pit bull with puppies. That's a triple whammy. Can I see the vet bills, please? I don't want to hear from all you pit bull lovers out there. I don't care.
I have the vet bill and the police report and the dog pound. Those are just the cremation bills. The doctor felt sorry for Wednesday, my black dog right here, so he didn't charge us.
Listen to me. I think anybody that keeps pit bulls are crazy, okay? I also think that people that don't take care of their dogs are also irresponsible. You understand? I think it's totally irresponsible. I have small dogs, and I have a fenced yard, and I would never go away for the day. For 2 hours, for 3 hours, I'd leave my small dogs unattended in the backyard, especially knowing that my neighbor's pit bull has gotten into my yard before.
Yeah.
That's irresponsible. That's not what a good parent does. And when you have a small dog like that, you have to treat it like a parent, because it could be a pit bull, it could be a hawk, it could be anything. So you have to understand that part of it is your responsibility. If their dog came into your yard, which I think it was probably trying to do, I think your dogs were probably trying to burrow under. I don't know where the attack took place. I do know that they're responsible for the vet bills. You have a potentially vicious dog living with you. You have to create a fence that keeps the dog inside. That piece of junk that you have there doesn't do it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
You want to keep those dogs? Get a chain link fence and keep them inside your house. You get it. Do you have homeowners insurance?
I do not. I have renter's insurance.
Do you have renter's insurance that includes your dog? Did the insurance company know that you have a pit bull?
No, because I was fostering them at the time.
She wasn't supposed to have dogs, what her owner said. Oh.
You were fostering a dog for how long?
It was just a couple months.
You had the dog since August.
Actually, my son took it back at the first time that happened.
Get a chain link fence or get rid of the dog.
I rehomed him.
Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $250. We're done. Did you buy the dog, by the way?
Yeah.
Who did you buy the dog from?
We got it out of state in Kansas. He was flown to us.
Fine. How much did you pay for the dog?
$2,200.
You have proof of that for me?
I don't have proof, but I have papers of the value of the dog.
What kind of dog was it?
He was a toy Yorkie.
$2,450. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're finished.
Parties are excused and they step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
The neighbors found my dog.
My dogs wouldn't attack another dog that way.
If you have a vicious dog, tie it up.
I had to rehome my dog and the ones that I was fostering.
We got justice for our dog, and that's all that matters.
I'm just glad it's all over with.
The selfie she never wanted seen.
Why did you send a semi-nude picture of your wife to your ex-girlfriend?
Ms. Brown was making obscene remarks. Your wife is fat, she's ugly, and you're ashamed of it.
The logical response to that is, here's a naked picture of my wife. She's neither fat nor ugly. You got some bargain there. He sounds like a rocket scientist.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Sheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Jeanette Brown is suing her ex-fiancé, Jimmy Thomas, for rent, a car down payment, and the return of property.
Order. All rise. It's case number 106 on the calendar in the matter of Brown versus Thomas.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Miss Brown, according to your complaint, you and Mr. Thomas were in a very long relationship and lived together for most of that time. That was about 4 years, is that right?
No, it's almost 5.
And then you broke up. He left you. He remarried within a very short period of time. You want a lot of things that you say he owes you. You had signed a lease. He moved out and he owed a couple of months' rent that you had to pay yourself. Also, you say you put down money on a car, $4,000.
Correct.
On a car that Mr. Thomas took when he left. Mr. Thomas says that while you were together, you purchased 2 cars as sort of a couple. Is that correct?
We purchased 3 cars, and one of the cars is in his sister's name, the Charger that he took. I gave him the choice because we purchased 2 cars with our name on it, and I told him he can take the car with a higher payment on it because I am a household of 1 income and he's a household with 2 incomes, and he told me no.
Ms. Brown, I'm not getting involved in that. Courts don't get involved in almost marrieds.
Correct.
I'm telling you, there is no court for almost marrieds.
When he left, he chose to leave both cars.
I don't care. You don't get money back. You live together as a couple.
Okay.
Okay. When you were living together in this most recent apartment, you signed a 1-year lease.
A house.
Is that correct?
Correct.
When does the lease terminate?
September 2018.
When did you leave, Mr. Thomas?
May 5th, Your Honor, of 2018.
When you were living together, were the 2 of you paying the bills?
I was paying majority of the bills.
I don't care. Majority? I don't care. Majority.
Okay.
Was she working?
Not at the time, no.
Oh, now, at what time?
At the time, no, she wasn't working when I was taking
At
care of
what
the bills.
time? I'm asking you. Put your hand down. At what time, Mr. Thomas, am I talking about? At what time was it?
During the month of January on to May 5th, till I decided to leave.
So from January until you left, she wasn't working?
No.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Excuse me, Your Honor, that's not correct.
Who were you working for from January until May?
In January, I was working... I was doing...
Listen,
I'm sorry, in January, I was on disability. February, I was on disability.
What's the nature of your disability?
I was out on medical leave for Empire Transportation. I lost my job in March for Empire Transportation and started working at Amazon. In April, I got hired through Adecco working for Pomona Valley Hospital. I've been working, and I've currently
Well, that's April. That's April and May. Who paid the rent in February?
I did.
And he?
He was not working. He was on disability.
You know what? I don't care. Really. It's my life. It's my life. What was the nature of your disability?
My disability was my sciatica nerve in my back.
You had a bad back.
I have a bad back.
I have a bad back, too. You know, I've had a bad back for 30 years.
Yes.
You know what I do?
Of course.
Okay. I'm actually totally disinterested in whether you think he owes you rent or not. You lived together as a couple. You slept together. It was almost like you were married. I'm not separating your stuff. Now, the only thing that I am quite frankly interested in is on your counterclaim.
Yes.
And something that you said in your counterclaim.
Yes, Your Honor.
In your counterclaim, you say that Miss Brown posted a photograph of your now wife.
Yes, Your Honor. I have all the information. I have all the proof.
Listen to me.
Okay.
Was it a suggestive photograph?
She went on Facebook and got it. Yes, it was a very derogative
Just
picture.
a second. How did the picture get on Facebook? Put your hand down. How did the picture get on Facebook?
Well, my wife has pictures of herself on her page.
On her Facebook?
On her page. And Miss Brown...
I'm sorry. I think he's confused of the other picture. She's just speaking of the picture that is my picture that...
Stand.
I apologize. The picture that you're speaking of, is it the picture that Miss Brown herself personally discriminated me and posted in my body on Facebook?
Listen to me carefully. What kind of picture was it?
It was a picture. She posted a picture of myself in a bra and panties.
Just a second. Did she make that?
No.
Stop. Just stop. Papers down. Did she make that picture up? Did she take a face of yours and put it on?
No. My husband had to have sent her the picture of me in some way for her to get it. Or
that
her to
makes
get it
you an idiot for taking the picture and him an idiot for sending her the picture, right?
Yes.
Once you took the picture and gave it to him and he, like an idiot, sent it to his ex-girlfriend for whatever reason, I couldn't imagine. Why did you send it to her? Take a deep breath before I say it. Take a deep breath.
Right now,
take a deep breath. Why did you send a picture, a semi-nude picture of your wife to your ex-girlfriend?
Because at the time, Your Honor, Ms. Brown was making obscene remarks.
Just a second. What kind of obscene remarks?
Your wife is fat, she's ugly, you're ashamed of her.
Okay, so let me understand this. She said your wife is fat and ugly, and so you wanted to prove her wrong, so you sent a semi-nude picture of your wife to her and say, look, my wife is neither fat, ugly, or anything else. This is what I got. And now your counterclaim is that she's harassing you because she reposted that picture. Is this what I'm believing? Is this what I'm believing?
Yes, Your Honor.
You got some bargain there. He sounds like a rocket scientist. It's a logical reaction to somebody who was saying, I understand your wife is fat and ugly and whatever, and the logical response to that is, here's a naked picture of my wife. She's neither fat nor ugly.
Your Honor, it was after several times and attempts of days and weeks of Miss Brown calling me fat and ugly and me being terrorized on behalf of it. So finally, he just decided to let her know that I wasn't and letting me.
Well, that's what he did. That's how he gave it to her. He gave it to her. He can't sue about it now. He sent her the picture, therefore it's no longer a confidential picture. He sent her the picture. She can make wanted posters out of it if she wants to.
So it's okay for her to place my name across social media and telling everybody?
Listen to me. It's not smart of a person, man or a woman, to take a photograph of themselves and say, you know what, I'm just going to send this to my best friend. What you have to say is, before you take a picture of yourself, even a picture of yourself in the mirror, you have to say, would I like to see this photograph in the top flap of the New York Times tomorrow morning? Would I like to see it plastered across USA Today? Is that where I want to see this picture? Do I want my grandmother to see it? Do I want my mother to see it? I don't understand why people do such stupid things. And I don't understand why you know you're not fat and you know you're not ugly. And your husband clearly knows the same thing. Why he has to impress his former girlfriend, who we walked out on, with the fact that he married somebody who was not fat and ugly, I don't know. When you should both know it. But you certainly have no basis for a lawsuit once you take the picture and he shares it with somebody else and she shares it with Bird, who would immediately erase it from his social media page, right? Absolutely. As I am erasing the memory of this case, your case is dismissed. That does your counterclaim.
He has 2 phones of mine.
Goodbye.
Please excused. You may step out.
My reaction to Judge Judy's decision, it was awesome.
She's a deranged woman. She's vindictive.
Because it made my ex look like
just very everything you can think of with her. So
there's no future with a liar and a cheater.
I'm not a liar or a cheater, as you can see.
He didn't have enough nerve to tell me he was married to somebody else. He had his wife text me and tell me.
This is what it is. She got left.
I thought it was a joke. It still is a joke.
Deranged, like I said.
Not trust a cheater or a liar.
Wish her the best. Peace, just not with me.
And Berquist are suing the mother of Richard's children, Melissa Ackerman, for vandalizing his SUV and having him falsely arrested for assault.
Order. All rise.
This is case number 264 on the calendar in the matter of Berquist Gukin versus Ackerman. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Mr. Gukin, this is your mom?
Yes, ma'am.
And the only reason she's here is because she posted the bail for you when you were arrested as a result of a complaint filed by Miss Ackerman.
Yes, Your Honor.
She wasn't present during any altercation. She has no other first-hand knowledge of the events of that day.
No, Your Honor.
So stand as long as you can if you have to sit down.
Can I sit down?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Gukin, you and Miss Ackerman lived together for a long period of time, and you have children together. How many children do you have?
2, Your Honor, and
How
a
old are
stepdaughter. They are, my son just turned 8, and my daughter is 6.
How long have the two of you lived together?
Previously, we had been together for 5 years, and then there was a 5-year break in between, and then it was a year that we lived together until this altercation happened.
On what date was the altercation?
I believe it was the 22nd or the 23rd.
Of what?
Of September. Thank you.
This year?
Of this year, ma'am.
What time of the day?
It had started the night before. I came home after being out, just needed to get out of the house, and I asked her to unlock her phone because I had caught her cheating on me.
Let's go back. So on the 22nd in the evening, you left the house?
Yes, Your Honor.
Where did you go?
I didn't really go anywhere. I just drove around Federal Way.
Didn't go to a bar?
No, Your Honor.
Didn't drink?
No, Your Honor.
You left the house because you were arguing?
No, just to get out of the house. I'd been working all week, taking care of the kids at night, trying to keep up with the house as best I possibly can. Picked her up from work and just drove around Federal Way afterwards.
What time did you get home?
I believe it was maybe 1 in the morning.
Do you remember what time you got home on the 23rd?
It was like 1:30.
Okay. What happened when you got home?
She was drinking on the couch. I sat down next to her. I'd asked her to unlock her phone because...
Okay, you asked her to unlock her phone, and this is 1:30 in the morning.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So all of that sounds to me very stupid. You're out. It's 1:30 in the morning. You're not drinking. She's sitting on the couch drinking, 1:30 in the morning, and you want to go through her phone. Well, it doesn't sound very mature, does it? No. Well, it doesn't to me. Had you been drinking that night?
I had a drink after work, yes.
What time?
When I came home from work, it was like 11:15. The kids were in bed.
Who was babysitting for them?
Oh, he was.
So he was taking care of the children, and you get home from work at 11, and that's when he went out?
Yes.
Had you had an argument with him before he went out?
We argued a lot, but not immediately before, and no, he went to go hang out with a friend.
Okay, next.
She asked for her phone back. I said no. Then
So just a second. She asked for her phone back, which means you grabbed her phone.
Yes, Your Honor.
If you grab the phone out of her hand and you say unlock the phone and she says no, that's an argument.
Yes, Your Honor.
But it's already gotten a little physical. Okay, so what happened next?
After the argument had escalated, I tossed her phone down, didn't know where it went.
Tossed the phone on the floor. You tossed the phone on the floor.
No, Your Honor. I believe it was on our bed.
I thought she was on the couch. How did you get into the bedroom?
She had went down to the bedroom, and I had went down to my bedroom as well.
So she tried to get away from the argument by going into the bedroom.
Yes, Your Honor, and I was.
And you followed her.
Yes, Your Honor. I was going to go to bed. It is my room
with
too.
her?
Yes, it is my room as well.
I don't want to sleep with you. You're being foolish. So far, Mr. Gukin, you're not in good shape with me. May change. You know, we go step by step, but it may change. Because what you're suing her for is for false arrest, and your mother had to pay $4,800 to get you out, and she's got a counterclaim for assault. We'll see.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so far you're having a big domestic argument. You've been together for a very long time. You have 2 children, 8 and 6 years old. You went out just driving around for 2.5 hours. She had 1 drink after work. And you come home, and the only thing on your mind is unlocking her phone and looking to see who she's been talking to. She tries to get away by going downstairs to the bedroom. You could have stayed on the couch. You could have done a whole bunch of other things to de-escalate the situation. Instead, you followed her to the bedroom, and you threw her phone. You think it landed on the bed.
Yes, Your Honor, it was on the bed.
Now, when she asked you for the phone back, you clearly didn't give her her phone back because you still had it when you were walking from the living room where she was on the couch to the bedroom. So you kept her phone.
If you look at it that way, yeah.
What do you mean? If I'm listening to what you're telling me, I'm just putting it in an order that I understand. So now the phone is thrown on the bed. And next?
I tried to leave the house to de-escalate the situation.
Just a second. So you threw the phone on the bed, and then you left the bedroom.
Yes, Your Honor. She obviously thought I still had my cell phone.
Don't tell me. Obviously, I don't want to hear what she thought. You're trying to leave the house, and?
She then came outside, slashed 1 tire on my vehicle.
Just a second. So you were outside?
Yes.
And she came outside and used what to slash a tire?
I believe she used a pair of scissors to puncture the tire, and then
so she was trying to prevent you from leaving probably with her phone.
Yes, Your Honor, but I did not have her phone.
Next.
As not trying to leave her without a vehicle, I slept on the couch that night.
Okay, so now you have a slashed tire. You're not going to change the what?
Slashed tires, 2 of them.
So 2. So you went inside to go to sleep.
Yes, Your
Had
Honor.
you been shouting at each other?
There was a little bit of shouting, yes.
And your children were where?
In the bedroom, asleep. As I tried to de-escalate the situation, I did wake up my children to then take my Yukon, or our Yukon at the time, over to my sister's house to let everything de-escalate.
Just a second. What time did you wake up your children to take them to your sister's house?
It was about 1:30.
In the morning?
Yes, Your Honor.
Why didn't you leave them home with their mother?
Because she was drunk, Your Honor.
Then what happened?
It got worse, and then I just put the kids back to bed, and...
What do you mean? You woke them up to take them out, and how did it get worse?
She would not let me leave with my kids. She pulled on my shirt, ripped my shirt off of me. I then put my children down and said, I'll just sleep on the couch. Went to sleep on the couch, woke up the next morning, went and bought a pack of cigarettes, came back to do the dishes, and everything escalated again.
What do you mean it escalated again?
I came outside, asked her to please get out of my vehicle. She would not get out of my vehicle.
What vehicle was that? The one with the slashed tires or the other one?
No, Your Honor, it is my 97 GMC Yukon.
And what happened?
She would not let me leave with my children.
Leave with your children?
Yeah, after...
Just a second. So you were going to leave again. Now you had both slept, and you woke up, and you wanted to take the children. What time?
This was probably about 10 in the morning.
And where were you going to take your children?
Over to my sister's house where they like to go.
But you had been fighting with her before.
Yes, Your Honor.
Why didn't you just get in the Yukon and go to your sister's house if you wanted to?
Because I wanted to have a nice day with my children.
Well, you're going to have a nice day with your children. That sounds stupid. I'm going to get her take on it, and then I'm going to tell you, I'll probably tell you both goodbye. You had a bad fight and a bad night. Probably isn't the first time that you had a bad fight and a bad night.
You're probably right.
Right.
More than likely.
Right.
And
okay, so you tried to take your children again, and
she was freaking out, yelling, screaming, making my children freak out, thinking something's extremely wrong.
So you were acting ridiculous.
I tried to
You wanted to take your children out to have a nice day, and that was the precursor to it being a nice day, was screaming and yelling between you and their mother. That was the precursor to having a nice day. Something wrong with the two of you. You get where I'm going?
I think he was just trying to leave the situation and let it all chill out.
Yeah. If he wanted to leave the situation, he could have left the situation by himself. He could have called an Uber and taken himself over to his sister's house if he wanted to just get himself away from the situation.
I also did not want to leave my children with a alcoholic mother.
Just a second. The woman that you talk about, that you've lived with and made 2 children with, wasn't drinking in the morning. She was sober. You were sober at 10 o'clock in the morning. The fight just escalated, and now you want to have a nice day with your sister and your 2 children, so in between the screaming match, you try to take them into the Yukon.
Yes, Your Honor.
What happened next?
She would not let me leave. I asked her to back away from the vehicle. She was outside screaming, freaking out. I tried to maintain...
Freaking out? What does that mean, freaking out?
Thinking that I was going to leave and never bring my children back. That's something I would never do.
Where are the children now? Do they live with their mother or do they live with you?
They live with their mother now.
And was that a court-ordered decision?
Yes, it was.
Did you have a hearing about that?
We had a protection hearing about that. Yes.
Okay. And Miss Ackerman works from when to when?
It was from 5 to 10 o'clock at night.
Where?
Lowe's.
Where do you work?
Swissport Fueling. I work at the airport.
From when to when?
From 6 in the morning to 3:30 in the afternoon, 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
So that gives you very little time to get on each other's nerves. At what point were the police called on the 23rd?
I'm assuming after I left. After I'd been pepper sprayed, where she discharged.
Just a second. Did you take the children with you?
No. I was at this point done fighting, and I was just done.
So you left the children?
I left the premise.
When did she put pepper spray on your face?
When I was trying to ask her to please get out of my vehicle, she then discharged a can of pepper spray in the vehicle where her youngest daughter was at as well.
Her youngest daughter is not your child?
No, she, at that time, was my stepdaughter.
She's not a stepdaughter, sir. No. She's not a stepdaughter because you're not married, so she can't be a stepdaughter. And how old is that child?
She's 3 and calls me daddy.
I don't care if she's 3 and calls you I'm late for dinner. She's not your stepchild.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
When somebody says to me after work, they sat down and they had a drink, I don't buy it. And do I think that he was just driving around from 11 o'clock until 1:30 in the morning? Yeah, I'm having my bat mitzvah next year.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Richard Gookin says the mother of his children, Melissa Ackerman, vandalized his SUV and had him falsely arrested for assault. Melissa is countersuing for destruction of property and assault.
Now, were your 2 children in the car as well?
No, Your Honor.
So you were only taking the 3-year-old?
No, Your Honor. My other 2 children had gotten out of the car, and she had climbed in the car. She knows how to climb into my car.
Go. You called the police because?
I called the police on the 23rd because he was assaulting me.
Tell me how he was assaulting you.
I was going into the vehicle to pull out important things in case he did leave. I had birth certificates. I had my lease agreement.
Just a second. You had... Hold on. You know, if something doesn't make sense to me, it may be that it's true, but you'll never convince me that somebody leaves their children's birth certificates, their lease agreement, and all this stuff in a car when they have a house that they've been living in for a while, where you have your 3 children, unless you were planning on leaving and taking the children with you along with those documents. There would have been no reason for those documents to be in the car. You want to try to convince me why the birth certificates and your lease agreement were in the car?
They were all in there from registration for school. I just hadn't removed them yet.
Oh, good answer. I don't buy it. Keep going.
So I was cleaning up the car, essentially. I was getting everything of our stuff out of it in case he did leave. And he came out and he assumed that I was looking for my cell phone.
Don't tell me what he assumed.
No, he was saying, your phone isn't in here. Your phone isn't in here. It's like, I'm not looking for that. I'm just getting our stuff. So I was pulling stuff. He was pulling it out of my hands and he was throwing it on the road. He's telling me to get out of his track. I'm like, I'm just getting our stuff. He starts pulling on my legs. He's pulling my slippers off. My pants are coming half off. And I am kicking him and telling him, get off of me, get off of me. And he's crawling in on top of me, and he's opening up the car door behind my head. And this is a Yukon. The seat is pretty high. He's pushing me out the other way, face first, and I'm trying not to hit the ground. And I'm grabbing onto the seat, and I'm trying to pull myself back into the car. And I'm pulling out my pepper spray out of my pocket at the same time because I knew from the night before that things could get bad. So I was pulling it out of my pocket, and I sprayed him in the side of the face, and he wiped it off the side of his face and wiped it down my face. And I was calling for my son to help me get inside the house because I couldn't see. So Peyton tries to help me into the house so I can wash my eyes out. And he takes me to the bathroom. Richard is standing in the doorway, and he said, it hurts, don't it? And I let go of Peyton's hand, and I feel my way into the kitchen instead. And I'm starting to wash out my eyes. And I could hear my daughter next to me. Mama, what's wrong? What's wrong? Well, I'm washing out my eyes. And he comes up next to me, and he pushes me out of the way and says he needs to wash off the side of his face, which pushes me into my daughter, which pushes her into the wall. And she starts crying, and I squat down. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for this to, it's a dream. It's all a dream, and I'm so sorry. And he goes, and I can hear Peyton screaming, no, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. And I go outside, and he's trying to load Peyton into the car. I'm taking him with him, and Peyton doesn't want to go. He's kicking and he's screaming. So I run out there, and he throws it in the back seat, and he's trying to hop into the front seat, and the door is still open. And I'm banging on the back door, and he keeps hitting the button to lock the door. So I can't open it unless Peyton physically hits the button.
How many children are in the car at that point?
At that point, one.
Which child is in the car?
Peyton.
Peyton is how old?
8.
Go ahead.
And I get it open eventually between clicks. And I grab Peyton and I pull him out of the car. And he goes inside. And then Richard grabs Bailey and tries to put Bailey in the car. And the same thing happens all over again. And Richard hops out of the car and he shoves me against the neighbor's van and says, now you can tell them I put hands on you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
The assault was that he took pepper spray from his face and put it on your face. How did the pepper spray get on his face?
I was trying to get him.
No, just a second. No, the pepper spray got on his face because you sprayed him with a pepper spray.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Richard Gookin and his mother, Vivian Berquist, have accused the mother of Richard's children, Melissa Ackerman, of vandalizing his SUV and having him falsely arrested. Melissa has a countersuit for destruction of property and assault.
Okay. Did he leave?
Kind of. He went into the house first.
He went into the house first?
While I was calling the cops.
And he went into the house for what?
Honor, I was going to grab clothes.
Did you grab clothes?
No.
What happened?
I just decided the best result is just to leave, let everything calm down.
So you left?
Yes, Your Honor.
And where did you go?
I went over to my mother's house.
And then where did you and your mother go?
After that, we returned to the house.
Her house?
No, mine and Mrs. Ackerman's house, so I can get my stuff for work, so I can go to work the next day.
What time?
12:30-ish.
Okay.
And, Your Honor, may I speak freely, please? I had asked my kids if they had wanted to go. They had said yes.
Listen, I find the whole behavior of both of you in front of these children outrageous.
You were correct,
It was
Your Honor.
outrageous. It was outrageous for you to grab her phone. And the fact that Miss Ackerman got pepper spray on her face wouldn't have happened if she hadn't had pepper spray in her pocket and tried to spray you. So that's actually what happened. And what's terribly offensive is that all this happened in front of 3 children, screaming and yelling and pulling and pushing.
I never pushed her, Your Honor.
Listen, let me tell you what you told me that you did. You told me that you grabbed her phone.
Yes, Your Honor.
You told me that you kept her phone. You told me that she tried to de-escalate the situation by going into the bedroom, and you told me that you followed her into the bedroom
Yes, Your Honor.
and threw her phone on the bed. That's what you told me. Okay? And that's your own version of it, very quiet, in a very quiet voice, but that's your own version of it. That doesn't make you a prince.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Are you the victim of an assault? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, Miss Ackerman, I'm going to tell you that I think that you were loaded. When somebody says to me after work, they sat down and they had a drink, I don't buy it.
I was watching movies on my phone.
I don't buy it. And do I think that he was just driving around from 11 o'clock until 1:30 in the morning? Yeah. I'm having my bat mitzvah next year.
All right.
So you're suing her because she called the police. Police came and arrested you, and your mother had to bail you out of jail. What happened with that case?
They declined to press charges.
Okay. After things sort of quieted down and he slept there the night before, you didn't call the police.
I didn't call. I gave up. And I regret it, but I gave up the night before.
No, I'm just asking you. You have to understand, I think that this whole entire incident was absolutely outrageous between the two of you. It was outrageous. Okay, now, you got busted. If your mother bailed you out, terrific. If she didn't bail you out, you would have spent some time there. Next time, don't take her phone. Now, we're going to get to the assault. You have medical records from this assault? No. And the assault was, if I read this and if I listened to you, the assault was that he took pepper spray from his face and put it on your face. How did the pepper spray get on his face?
I was trying to get him off.
No, just a
and
second.
I sprayed him.
No, the pepper spray got on his face because you sprayed him with a pepper spray. Now, when was the last time you saw your children?
It will be 2 weeks ago.
Where did you see them?
My sister had picked them up for me.
Oh, that's a very good idea. Okay, good. Your case is dismissed, as is your countersuit. We're done. Thank you.
Excuse me, step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I didn't do anything. I mean, this is the mother of my children. I've never hurt her.
He's been making my life difficult for the last 10 years.
Because she had cheated on me previously.
He wants to project because he knows that he's done wrong for the last 10 years.
That in the end, we can all just work this out, get along.
He doesn't do anything for them. He acts like he does, but he doesn't.
The truth will set you free.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Gonzalez versus Craven. Step forward.
Andrea Gonzalez is suing family friend, 24-year-old Casey Craven, for several unpaid loans.
Miss Craven, how long have you known Miss Gonzalez?
Roughly 6 years.
How do you know her?
She's like a family friend.
How old are you?
24.
And I gather from reading these papers, she's been very nice to you.
Yes.
Both emotionally supportive and financially supportive.
Yes.
You don't live with her?
No.
Who do you live with?
Myself.
Do you work?
Yes.
Full-time?
Yes.
Do you have any kids?
One on the way.
And where is that child's father?
He's with me.
So you live together?
Yes.
Does he work?
Yes.
You ran into some financial difficulty?
Yes.
When?
I ran into some financial difficulty in May.
Of this year?
2018, yes.
What was the financial difficulty?
My hours had got cut back in May, and I had called Andrea and was just venting to her, letting her know, you know, my hours had gotten cut back. I don't know how I'm going to pay my insurance. I was just venting to her, and she told me she would call me back. She called me back and told me, don't worry about it. I already paid it for you. That was the first thing.
Well, tell me how that was accomplished.
She immediately asked for my policy number.
Okay, of course, we have to have all that information.
Yes.
So that didn't come as a total surprise to you. There was a discussion, and the discussion had to do with the insurance. And you gave her your policy number and how much the amount was. So I want to hear that part of the conversation.
Okay, so I was venting to her about how I couldn't pay for my car insurance. You know, I don't know what I'm going to do. My hours got cut back.
Was the boyfriend living with you at the time?
No.
When did the boyfriend move in?
July.
Why did he move in with you?
We started dating. I found out I was pregnant, so he moved in with me.
We're going to go back to the conversation.
Yes.
Don't know how I'm going to pay my insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
I don't know what I'm going to do. I was just venting to her.
I used the word venting 9 times already.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You hit somebody's car and took off.
I panicked.
Panic. I'd be panicked at 24 years old if I needed somebody else to pay my car insurance and I was pregnant. Not when I backed up and dinged somebody's car. That wouldn't give me a canary.
We'll cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Andrea Gonzalez says family friend Casey Craven has received several loans from her and has yet to pay the money back.
Okay. At some point,
Yes.
you gave her your policy
She
number.
asked for my policy number. She asked for my policy number. I gave it to her.
You mean you didn't say, why do you want my policy number?
No. I didn't question it at all.
Just a second. Somebody says to you, can I have the name of your insurance carrier and your policy number, and you don't question her?
I did not.
Okay. Not believe. You know, it used to be a game. What was that called? When you gave an untruthful answer, you know, the duck quacked or something happened. I don't remember. How much did you pay for her car insurance?
$280, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, when was the next time you needed money?
The next time was in June, a month later. I was driving down the street with my girlfriend, and she had forgotten her phone. So instead of turning all the way around, I just backed down the street, and I had hit my neighbor's car. I panicked, and it was just a tiny dent. It was a little ding in my car, their car. I drove down the street, and I called Andrea. And again, I was just telling her, like, I don't know what to do. I just hit this car. It's my first accident. I'm nervous. I don't know what to do. And she told me to just relax and to go to Breakmasters across the street. And when I got there, I left my car there. When I came back, they'd given me a receipt. Andrea had called and paid for it already.
You understand this? You're old enough and smart enough to live in your own house, to drive the car, to get pregnant with somebody who just moved in with you. But you didn't know what to do when you hit somebody's car and took off. That you didn't know what to do with.
I panicked.
Panic. I'd be panicked at 24 years old if I needed somebody else to pay my car insurance and I was pregnant. That would give me panic. Then I would be panicked. Not when I backed up and dinged somebody's car. That wouldn't give me a canary. Being 24 years old and poor and single and pregnant would drive me through the roof.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, how much did it cost your friend Miss Gonzalez to take care of this ding in your car?
$500.
And did you need any more money from her?
No.
That was it?
That was it.
Is that how much money you gave her?
She asked for more money to help in between, so I loaned her another $200. Well, her dates are off. When she asked
Don't tell me the dates. I have $780. If she's forgetting another $200 in cash, tell me about it, and then I'll ask her about it.
May 30th, she had asked for more money, and I loaned her $200.
You mean that was
day.
after the $280 for insurance?
Yes, and after the car repair, her dates are off. She came and asked me for the insurance, and the next day she came to my home to explain to me about the hit and run. It wasn't a month later. Her timeline's off.
Did you give her the $200 in cash?
Yes, I did.
Do you remember that?
No, because she never gave it to me.
$780, judgment for the plaintiff. We're done. Thank you very much.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
While on your watch, her dog died.
It dug its way out.
This pet sitter blames the pet.
They dig out of her yard all the time.
Hey, something's wrong with you.
Judge Judy.
It's sad to be a friend to someone and have them completely lie in court.
She paid for it on her own. I don't owe her anything.
I considered her a part of the family.
I was just venting to her because she's like a mother figure to me.
The Bank of Gonzalez is now shut.
I mean, I still care for her. I just don't want the drama. I don't want anything to do with it.
Who has the truck?
I do.
Because he stole the key.
I'm not going to give her the truck.
A fed-up ex puts his foot down.
I filed for a restraining order for harassment.
Tell me why.
Ms. Smith was sending me derogatory and nasty emails.
Let me see them.
But will her persistence pay off?
So she said, I'm planning on taking you to Judge Judy for the truck. Let the entire country know what a dirtbag you are.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Sheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Christiana Smith is suing her ex-boyfriend, Robert Wilson, for unpaid rent, medical bills, the return of property, a false restraining order,
and threats.
Order. All rise.
It's case number 195 on the calendar in the matter of Smith versus Wilson.
Thank you.
Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated, sir. Have a seat.
Miss Smith, I've read your complaint very carefully. It appears that you and Mr. Wilson were a couple. You moved with him from Oklahoma to Las Vegas, Nevada.
Correct.
And he promised you the moon, that he would take care of you, that he would provide you with health insurance, that you were going to remain a couple. And after you arrived in Las Vegas, the situation changed, so you left. Are you still in Las Vegas?
No, I went back to Oklahoma.
And it is your claim that you believe Mr. Wilson owes you for all the broken promises that he made, that he would provide you with insurance because you got sick, you went to the hospital, and now you have hospital bills, and that he kept some of your property, and for filing a false police report because he says that you were stalking him. So let's start out with the things that are simple. What month and year did you move from Oklahoma to Las Vegas?
June 2017.
And when did you move back to Oklahoma?
July 2018.
And at what time did Mr. Wilson leave the apartment where you two were living together?
June 3rd.
Of 2018?
Correct.
And what items do you claim that he took from the apartment that belonged to you when he left?
So on June 3rd, he removed my truck key.
A key to a truck?
My truck key.
Just a second. Who has the truck?
I do.
Because he stole the key.
And, Your Honor?
And you have the key?
Yes, ma'am.
In whose name is the truck?
It is in both our names.
I'm the main signer.
He has the truck, he has the key. What else does he have that belongs to you?
A month later, he removed 2 motorcycle helmets, female motorcycle helmets.
And they belonged to you?
I'm female.
What?
I'm female, he's not.
No, that's not my question.
Yes.
I said, did they belong to you? Did
Yes,
you have a
they're
motorcycle? Did you have a motorcycle?
We had a motorcycle.
The two of you?
No, ma'am.
Was it a motorcycle that the two of you rode together? One
Yes.
motorcycle?
Yes.
Who has the motorcycle?
I sold it in April.
You had it?
Yes, ma'am.
And I assume, since it's not the subject of this, you owned it?
Yes, ma'am.
And you took the helmets that went with it?
Correct.
Do you have a motorcycle?
No.
What else are we here for?
Neither does he.
Key and 2 helmets. Forget it. Next.
He also removed a tent that I bought.
A tent?
$100 tent out of our storage.
Next.
Rent for 1 month for the apartment we were staying in. Since he left, he had a key, he had access, and part of his belongings in our apartment.
What did you do with his belongings?
What could I do? I left them there.
Okay. Now, any property that you've just mentioned, the key to the truck that he has that's not before me, the motorcycle helmets that you have zero use for because you have no motorcycle, a tent that cost $100, and now we're at rent, and you're not claiming that he was there, you're claiming his things were there, and you left in July, according to you, just left his things there when you left in July.
No,
he wasn't
ma'am.
living there.
I was still there until basically I got evicted, and his name was on there too.
You got evicted? Just a second. Pay attention. You got evicted for what?
For non-payment of rent because I got really ill.
Just a second. So if you didn't pay rent, what are you asking for rent for?
I did pay rent for over a month.
Okay. Now, you have to tell me why you filed an order of protection against Miss Smith, because part of her lawsuit, the only part that's left here, is for filing a false restraining order against her.
Yes, ma'am.
So I want you to tell me why you filed a protective order against her and what happened to it.
I filed for a restraining order for harassment because Miss Smith was sending me all kinds of derogatory and nasty emails.
Let me see them. Mr. Wilson, while I'm taking a look at those things, I want you to tell me, what is your intention with this truck where her name is on the loan?
Right now, I'm looking into refinancing it or possibly trading it in on another vehicle.
Well,
so she can be removed from it.
You've had the truck now since June.
Yes, ma'am.
June, July, August. We're now at the end of September. And if I were to call the finance company, would they tell me you're up to date in your payments?
Yes, ma'am.
Then there is no reason why you can't refinance this in your own name to get it out of her name. She should not have to have this on her head that you're driving around in a truck and she has to worry about you insuring it and making payments on it.
Correct.
Well, when are you going to do that, sir? Not looking into it. You've had 4 months to look into it.
Well, been working on rebuilding my credit. The reason why she was on there, and I also have a Facebook post where she acknowledges that she co-signed for me.
I don't care. I'm not.
And the dealership.
All I'm saying to you, sir, is that you've had 4 months to look into it.
Yes, ma'am.
And if you have lousy credit, give her the truck.
I'm not going to give her the truck.
Listen to me carefully, sir. There is no reason for you not being together with her to put her credit in any jeopardy because how old are you?
53.
Well, if you're 53 and didn't have reasonable enough credit to buy a truck on your own, which is what you told me just now, because you needed her to co-sign for you so that you could get credit, why in the world would she want to rely on you to make payments on the truck? Because if you have lousy credit, that means that you didn't pay certain bills on time or at all, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So when are you going to do that, sir?
As soon as I get home, I'll go to my bank and see about refinancing it.
Why haven't you done that in the last 4 months?
That's where I just been too busy doing other things.
Like what?
Moving on with my life.
Ma'am?
Shh. Okay, so she said, I'm planning on taking you to Judge Judy for the truck. Let the entire country know what a dirtbag you are. Well, there you go. Okay, now, Mr. Wilson, you wrote to her, I need to be taken off the paperwork over there.
Yes, ma'am, off the apartment.
Why would you want to be taken off the paperwork, sir?
So I would not be responsible for the rent.
For the lease.
Well, we were living in an extended stay apartment. And they
just a sec. You understand why I'm laughing?
Yeah.
You understand why I'm laughing? You understand why they're all laughing? That you understand right away. You wanted to be taken off from the lease.
Yes, ma'am.
But not from a truck loan. That didn't understand for 4 months because you were busy getting on with your life. And that's what she wrote to you that you claim formed the basis of your application for a protective order.
No, ma'am, I have more.
Okay. I'd like to see him because none of that impresses me.
I've got this social media post that she sent to my family members.
May I see it, please?
And then also she...
Just a second. Just a second. Not an also. You know, I'm a slow learner. I can only do one thing at a time. Oh, so she posted this thing. You know, he hides money, check is always less than expected. He grows facial hair. He grows cold and distant. He stops wanting to do things together. These are helpful hints so you'll know when he wants to move on. The only thing here is receiving emails from friends that he is sending them new pictures with the offending picture enclosed in front of a full-length mirror.
He did.
What is that?
He did.
That's false.
That is not false. That
show
is
me.
True.
Show me.
That was
show me.
That was when we first started dating.
Just a second. So that's when you first started dating before you moved from Oklahoma to Nevada, and then you moved from Oklahoma to Nevada with him.
It was a lady from North Carolina.
Next. What's
and then,
next?
After she moved to Oklahoma...
Just a second. All I want to know is, what was the next reason? So far, I'm unimpressed with any of these.
For the restraining order?
Correct.
When she moved back to Oklahoma, she has a rideshare rental car, and she has to bring back to Vegas every so often to have it inspected. She would drive through my apartment complex and stalk me, take pictures of my truck saying, oh, yeah, you still live here, and things like that.
Show me.
May I say?
No, this is a burden.
I don't think I brought that with me, ma'am.
Oh, okay, well, that's your burden. And I assume that the application for a protective order was denied.
Yes, it was.
Of course it was denied. How do I know that? Do you think that I'm a soothsayer? Miss Smith, what I'm going to do is, I believe that he had no right to file a protective order based upon this stuff that he showed me, which is really the two of you fighting over the payments he made on the truck. He wants to be off the lease, but he doesn't see the equation between your name being on a truck loan, and you have good credit, and his name being on a lease, and he's got lousy credit. So he doesn't... Something that wasn't registering to him. And I think that the filing of the restraining order based upon this nonsense was absolutely outrageous. I'm awarding you $500 for filing a false restraining order. We're done. We're done.
May I say one more thing? He literally left me dying on the bathroom floor.
We're done. Listen to me.
Okay.
You're sick. He's not responsible for your sickness.
He promised me insurance and marriage.
We're done.
Why is that excuse? You may step out.
This guy basically lied to me financially.
Miss Smith is a woman scorned.
Emotionally and physically ruined me.
And What's funny is...
And just warning to other women.
She's so upset about me leaving and all that.
Don't take people's word. Don't trust them. Don't believe them.
She's engaged to the guy she's living with now that she keeps running back to in Oklahoma.
I hope I never hear or see from him again.
You know, I've been down, I've been over it, I moved on. I'm much happier now.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Davis versus Welch. Step forward.
Angel Davis is suing her son, Carathis Welch, and his ex-wife, Vanessa, for a loan to pay off credit card debt.
Miss Davis, this young man is your son, and the lady with him is his ex-wife. Are you currently divorced? It is your claim that you made a loan to your son sometime after the initiation of divorce proceedings when he was going through some financial difficulty, and the loan was supposedly used to pay off credit cards.
Yes.
And you never had a discussion with your former daughter-in-law about it, but it is your claim that since she also incurred those credit card debts, she should be responsible for this loan.
Correct.
Right. Well, she's not.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I don't care what your impression was. She says that the $2,800 she gave you for a lawyer she gave you.
Right.
She says that months later she gave you another $4,800. Did she?
Angel Davis says her son, Carathis Welch, and ex-wife Vanessa owe for a loan to pay off their credit card debt.
I want you to tell me in what month and year you allege that your son asked you for money.
The first time he asked me, he retained a lawyer, and I gave him that money. He's my only child.
When? Month and year?
That was in March.
Of last year?
Of 2017.
And how much did you give him?
$2,800.
And was that the first time you had given him any money?
Other than small loans, that was substantial.
You have children together?
Yes.
How many?
One.
How old?
3 years. Well, she's
She'll be four.
4 tomorrow.
You share custody?
Yes.
And is that working out okay?
Yes.
Great. Like to hear it. So that was in March of 2017. When was the next time your son asked you for money? Because that, you say you gave him.
In May, he asked for a loan.
In May, after he had retained a lawyer?
Correct.
Tell me where you were when he asked you for a loan.
I was at home and he called me.
Tell me what the conversation was.
He called and said, Mom, I don't know how I did it. I didn't make my house payment. I can't make it this month if you can loan me some money. Payment, I believe, is almost $1,000.
Well, how much money did you loan him?
$689.
Where did you get that figure from?
I saw it on the check. I didn't even remember. I just knew it was the first loan.
Just a second. So you gave him $689.
Correct.
To make a house payment.
It was toward his house payment. He was short.
And when was the next time?
Approximately 2 weeks later, he called me and asked, he said, Mom, I can't pay these bills. I'm behind. It's stressing me out. Commuting for the baby, work. I need some help. I loaned him $4,800 to pay his credit card so he wouldn't have that monthly.
And you did that by check?
Yes, I did.
Made payable to him?
Yes, I did.
And that was in what month?
That was in June, but if I can say something, Your Honor, when I wrote the check, I was so stressed out about writing such a big check, I wrote the wrong month on it. But I do have the bank statements to show that it was the same time I wrote the check, in June.
What date does it have on it?
April 2017.
I'm ready.
I did go to my mom and ask her for help. She did help me with the attorney, but I asked her for help. It wasn't, I wasn't in the impression I was going to be paying her back.
Well, that's the $2,800. She says that up.
No. Yes.
Not doing it for me.
Okay.
You know that.
I know.
Good. I'm glad you know. I'm glad you know.
I wasn't under the impression that I was paying her back.
I don't care what your impression was. She says that the $2,800 she gave you for a lawyer she gave you.
Right.
She says that months later she gave you another $4,800. Did she?
Yes.
When?
I believe that was in June.
In what month did you and your wife separate?
In March of 2017.
And this check was written out in April.
The original, it wasn't written. I just put the wrong date.
Now I'd like to see that.
Okay.
You can sit down. You have nothing to do with this case. What this suggests to me is the same day that you wrote a check out or the check was cashed on June 19th, you transferred $4,500 from your savings account into your checking account.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct. I think I was traumatized from writing the check. I put the wrong month.
You also wrote the wrong amount in the...
Yes.
How many children do you have, Miss Davis?
That's my only child.
Do you see your grandchild?
I do see my grandchild.
It's a girl?
It's a girl, yes it is.
You see her when she's both with her mother and her father?
Now I do, both. I don't see him as much as I do the wife.
So my question is, before you started a proceeding against your son, what efforts did you make to try to resolve this family situation?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
So what did you do?
I called Judge Judy show because I was watching it.
Why'd you call me instead of going to small claims court?
I was watching TV and I said, I'm going to file a case.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Angel Davis says her son, Carathis Welch, and ex-wife Vanessa owe for a loan to pay off their credit card debt.
What efforts did you make to try to resolve this family situation?
I have made efforts. I talked to my son about the loan because in January, when he got his income tax, he said, Mom, I'm going to give you something. I said, okay, whatever he gives me, I'm good. And he didn't.
We're getting a little muddy here.
Yeah, it is.
No, we're getting a little muddy here. I'm going to tell you why. You wrote this check out, according to you, in June.
Correct.
And he was supposed to pay you from his tax returns?
Yes, there was going to be a delay, I knew, in getting the payment.
So you wrote this in June of 2017, and you were expecting payment in, let's say, January or February of 2018.
Just payment, correct. Some payments, money.
Well, when you didn't get any payment in January, February, or March of 2018, tell me about the conversations that you had with your son.
I talked to my son. I said, it's bothering me that you haven't paid me. He said, I'm going to start paying you, Mom. If you give me your account number, I'll start where it'll come straight to your account. I said, I'm not doing that, but you can write me a check, just like I wrote you a check, and start paying me. He said, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do it, Mom. So I said, okay. Then a couple months later, still nothing. And then in September, when I said I asked my son for money again, I said, it's bothering me that you haven't paid me, and I need you
Anything?
Well, no, he gave me, I got $100 from him, and that was it. He said, Mom, I got my bills straight, I redid everything, I can start paying you now. Everything's good now. And he didn't. And that's when I was watching TV, and I said, I'm going to file a case.
So what did you do?
I called Judge Judy show because I was watching it.
Why'd you call me instead of going to small claims court?
Well, I said, if you can do it, I said, let me try this first. And then I filed the case.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by Real Cases, Real People. Judge Judy. Judy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
I think you should go to your local small claims court.
I can.
I think that's what you should do if you want to sue your son. I think that you should go to small claims court. I'm going to let you do that.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
We're done. Thank you.
All right, so excuse me, step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
As soon as a man feels like they have power over you, they can start demanding things.
Well, you're texting him that you're prepared to become an escort for money.
Next Judge Judy.
It's over a year, and there's been no good faith in paying me.
I tried to make a payment plan, but
I said, Mom, I'm going to start giving you $100 a month.
I'm a single dad, so
I didn't get that $100.
I'm working on it.
I love my son. That's my only child.
She's my mom, and I love her.
Love him to death.
I hope that we can
It's time for me to get paid.
square things away and move forward.
Oh, I'm going to get my money.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Cobb versus Molden. Step forward.
Richard Cobb Jr. is suing his former family friend, Kenya Molden, for causing a car that was in his name to be repossessed.
Mr. Cobb, it is your claim that the defendant owes you the balance of a car that you purchased for her, put in your name, and she was to make payments on. She didn't make payments, the car was repossessed, and there was a shortfall on the loan, which was in your name, so you have to pay.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Molden says that that was not the agreement. Let me try to understand, Miss Molden, what the genesis of this case was. You had a great aunt?
Correct.
Have a great aunt. Is she still alive?
Yes.
And she's 100+ years old.
Correct.
And it is your claim that someone, a family member, moved her out of her home into a senior residence and then somehow manipulated the sale of her home with this person getting the proceeds.
Correct.
And you live where?
In Sacramento.
And your aunt lived where?
In Sunnyvale at a Sunrise living facility.
And you were traveling back and forth to try to get her back into her home?
Correct.
What were you doing to try to get her back into her home?
Going through a conservatorship process to bring the evidence of her being manipulated and tricked into being in a living facility by the hands of her great niece.
And how did you know this woman?
She's a member of my church, Your Honor.
How long had you known her?
4+ years.
And you, Mr. Cobb, somehow connected with Miss Molden. Tell me how that happened.
This lady, Pearl, we were very close friends. When she would visit the family, she would want to take public transportation. And since she's a member of my church, we became very close friends. On many occasions, I would take her to visit the family in Sacramento. 4th of July, Thanksgiving,
That's
and
how
Christmas.
you became acquainted?
No.
How did you become acquainted?
When we found out that her home was being sold, me and my family rushed down to the Bay Area to her home. And that's when Mr. Cobb contacted my grandmother and let her know that my great aunt had contacted him and told him where she was located.
At Sunrise?
Correct. And that's how me and him started our conversation and exchange of numbers.
Okay. So that's how you knew each other, and you had no transportation, so you worked for a car rental place where you got a discount on a car. According to your papers, you agreed to buy a car in your name because you got a discount on the car, and she would make the monthly payments on the car.
Yes, ma'am.
In what month did that happen?
August 17th, 2017.
And for how many months, Miss Molden, did you make payments on the car?
Approximately 6 months.
And then what happened?
And then he had contacted me and advised me that he had removed my name off of his insurance.
Did he tell you why?
He said it was expensive.
Okay. Did you remove her name from your insurance?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me why.
Because she had some tickets and a DUI, and it made my insurance very, very expensive.
Did you get a DUI? Did you get a DUI?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
You parked his car out on the street.
The tow truck driver put it out on the street.
But you accepted the car and you worked on the car.
Yes.
And now you don't know where the car is.
No, they found the car.
Where is the car?
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Richard Cobb Jr. says his former family friend, Kenya Molden, caused a car that was in his name to be repossessed.
Did you remove her name from your insurance?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me why.
Because she had some tickets and a DUI, and it made my insurance very, very expensive.
Did you get a DUI? Did you get a DUI?
Years ago, yeah.
How many years ago?
About 10 years ago.
Is that the only DUI you ever got?
Mm-hmm.
And what about tickets on the car? Did you ever get tickets on the car? It's not an answer. Did you get tickets on a car? Parking tickets. Did you pay them? The answer is no.
One of them, yes.
So he was taking your name off the insurance. If you took her name off the insurance, what you had to do was take back the car. When did you take her name off the insurance?
May I correct you, Your Honor?
Yes.
When I started off up till January the 5th, I had Progressive, and I changed to USA, and they told me it was okay for her to drive it. And it would be better for her name not to be on it because my insurance was probably twice as much.
In whose name was the car?
My name, Richard Cobb Jr.
Why wasn't it in her name, too?
It was up until the point where the insurance escalated.
So it wasn't her name, too?
The insurance was, yes, ma'am.
No, I'm talking about the title to the car.
No, the title's always been in my name.
If it was supposed to be her car, why wasn't it both your names?
It was only her car with the agreement that she would make the payments.
No. You understand what I'm saying to you, sir? Why wasn't it in both your names?
I don't have an answer for that.
I don't either. Because ultimately, she stopped making payments on the car. Car got repossessed. That's what happened, right?
Yes, ma'am.
If the car was in her name, there would be some obligation that she had. You have a written contract with her?
No, ma'am.
Can't help you.
I don't understand what you just said, Your Honor.
Very easy. If you were getting a discount on the car because you were putting it in your name, there would have been no reason to preclude her name, if it was really her car, from being on the title as well, right? That wouldn't have affected the discount. So I'm not buying the whole story. Do you understand?
No, ma'am.
Well, I don't know. We'll let you replay the tape. Your case is dismissed. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I figured I helped this lady with this car in good faith. She agreed to make the payments on the car.
It was to help my aunt. It wasn't for me to benefit from it or for me to have the property at the end.
She was responsible for making the payments on the car.
It was for me to use while I was going through the process, and after it was over, he got his car and I moved on.
And I'm ashamed of the way that she did me with this car.
I think it was the best news I've had all day.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Absher versus Morris. Step forward.
Kristen Absher is suing Stephanie Morris for money owed regarding the purchase of a Bengal cat.
Miss Asher, you breed Bengal cats.
Yes, ma'am.
They're beautiful.
Thank you.
I bought one for one of my grandchildren 10 years ago. It's got very big.
Yes.
Beautiful. And you like them. You purchased a Bengal cat from Miss Absher. You liked it so much you wanted to get another one and you wanted to breed them.
Yes, ma'am.
When you buy a cat, I assume when you buy a cat when you buy a purebred dog, if you're buying it as a pet, you pay one price. If you're buying it as a breeding animal, you pay a different price. You do know that.
Yes, ma'am.
Of course.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She paid for the cat in full through PayPal, and then she picked the cat up, and subsequent to that, she disputed the charges and started to take out $1,400.
That's correct.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Kristen Absher is suing Stephanie Morris for money owed regarding the purchase of a Bengal cat.
Now, so the first cat that you bought as a pet.
Right.
And you paid how much for that cat?
$13.
That was a male or a female?
A male.
So you wanted a female.
Right.
Which meant, for those of you who don't know that out there, I believe this is the drill, that if you purchase it as a pet, you don't get the CFA papers, Cat Fanciers Association papers, unless the pet is neutered. Isn't that the way you usually sell them?
I sell them neutered before they leave.
So the male was neutered?
Yes, ma'am.
And the female, she said she wanted to use it for breeding purposes?
Correct.
So that you did not have the female neutered, and the cost of the female was?
It was $2,000.
$2,000. And you paid her $2,000?
Yes.
And then, for some reason, you reversed $1,400 of that.
Right. Because
why?
Because we had an agreement that when I decided...
Look at me.
Because we had the agreement whenever I had decided to breed the cats, that I could get the cat for $600, but she would get the pick of the litter of the cat that she got. It was no deadline on the cat.
Just a second. Did you have that agreement with her?
No, ma'am.
Do you know why she reversed the $1,400?
No, ma'am.
Did you ever try to find out?
Yes, ma'am.
And what happened?
She said that she paid the money and she didn't pull the money back. I sent her documentation showing that it was pulled back, and she said that that wasn't her.
Well, she's just giving me a whole different story.
That's correct. That's not so.
Of course it's so.
No, me and her had a conversation.
Just a second. Well, the question is either you did pull it back.
I did pull the money back, and she agreed to it.
You pulled the money back, and what you're telling me is she agreed to it.
Yes.
When did you give her the money? On what date?
December the 17th is whenever I had purchased the cat.
And when did you pull the $1,400 back?
I believe it was January or February, one of those two.
On what day was it?
There were several different transactions where each payment she paid through PayPal was pulled back, so it was several different dates between January and February.
But she had given you a check.
No, ma'am.
What did she give you?
She made payments online through PayPal.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
So when she took possession of the cat
was paid in full when she took possession in December. And then I received emails from PayPal stating the charges were being disputed and the payments were being pulled back.
After she took, now I understand. So she paid for the cat in full.
That's correct.
Let me just get it. She paid for the cat in full through PayPal, and then she picked the cat up on December 17th, and subsequent to that, she disputed the charges and started to take out the $1,400.
Correct.
So she had paid for it before she picked up the cat.
That's correct.
Now, let me tell you the story that you told me here. The story that you told me here is that the male cat got out and got killed?
Afterwards. The first one, yes.
When?
It was in the beginning of January, but the reason why, she never gave me a deadline to when I could give her a litter of the cat. So that's the reason.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,400. Thank you very much. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
The day that he was supposed to pay me the money, he texted me telling me that he has gonorrhea and that I gave it to him.
You tested negative?
Absolutely.
I'm trying to figure out what's going on in your mind, Mr. Brown.
Judge Judy.
Me and her agreed that I would get my money back if she got a litter of the cat.
Absolutely not. The first cat was sold as a pet and was neutered before he left my home.
Got ran over.
It's very heartbreaking.
I still want to be a breeder, so I'm still going to buy a cat.
It is very unfortunate.
Now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Caston versus Sagami Naga, step forward.
Chelsea Caston is suing her former roommate, Michelle Sagarminaga, for the cost of a mattress that was damaged by Michelle's dog.
Miss Caston, how long were you and the defendant roommates?
Since May of 2018.
Where are you living now?
I'm currently at my boyfriend's.
What's his name?
Is Chris.
Chris what?
Chris.
Are you asking me? Is that a question?
No.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
As you can tell from the photos, that looks more of a throw-up kind of soil.
Could be.
And he likes to have accidents. Pepper.
I'm asking you.
Oh, yeah.
No attitude. The only attitude here is mine.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Chelsea Caston says former roommate Michelle Sagarminaga owes for a mattress that was soiled by her dog. Michelle has a countersuit for property damaged by Chelsea's dog.
Now, where are you living now?
I'm currently at my boyfriend's.
What's his name?
Is Chris.
Chris what?
Chris.
Are you asking me? Is that a question?
No.
What kind of work does he do?
He owns a tattoo shop.
On what date did you move into his apartment?
I believe it would
May
be
1st.
No, not into his apartment. And his apartment was about 2 weeks ago. I don't know the exact date.
On what date did you move out of the apartment that you shared with the defendant?
That's what I'm saying. 2 weeks ago, I moved into my boyfriend's out of the apartment that we shared. I still currently pay rent there.
Where?
At our apartment.
Where is that? In what city?
Excuse me?
In what city?
Los Angeles.
Good. So you still live with her?
On a lease, technically, yes, but my belongings aren't in the apartment any longer.
And you said she moved out May 1st.
No, we moved in together May 1st.
Oh.
Sorry, I misunderstood.
Okay. Now, your claim is that her dog ruined your mattress. She has some ridiculous counterclaim that your dog destroyed some of her stuff. Did you both have dogs when you moved in?
Yes.
And on what date do you claim that the defendant's dog ruined your mattress?
August 19th, I would say. I had left town August 17th.
And you came back on the 19th?
On the 20th.
And you found your mattress messed?
Yes, ma'am.
Where did you sleep on the 21st?
On the couch.
And on the 22nd?
On my bed. I had rented a steam cleaner.
And on the 23rd?
Back on the couch.
On the 24th?
I believe at my boyfriend's.
25th?
At my boyfriend's.
26th?
My boyfriend's.
I mean, I could go through the dates up until now, so it's really been longer than 2 weeks that you've been at your boyfriend's.
Okay.
When did you move all of your stuff out?
This was after she threw out her mattress.
When did she move all of her stuff out?
Oh, 27th, I believe.
When is the lease up?
May 1st, 2019.
Are you still living in the apartment?
Yes, I am.
You have a long time left to go on the lease.
Yes.
What are you going to do about it?
Pay the rent.
Now, what kind of dog do you have?
I have a Sheltie. I have a photo right here of him. He comes from a line of show dogs.
Just a second, he's very nice. Beautiful. Shelties are really nice dogs. I like them. What kind of a dog do you have?
I have a French Bulldog.
How old?
He's 2 years old.
Does he sleep on the bed with you?
Yes.
Does he get up on the bed himself?
I usually pick him up and put him on the bed.
Does he get off the bed himself?
Yes.
When you left, and you say you left on the 17th.
Yes.
Did you leave directly from your home?
From our apartment, yes.
Where did you go?
To Joshua Tree.
And describe the mattress when you came home.
It was completely disheveled. My comforter had been moved off to the side, and it was soiled with feces.
Can I see it? And you threw it away?
I had rented a steam cleaner and nothing was working. I drenched it in Febreze and I went to Petco and got some kind of cleaner that's for this type of mess, but it had seeped into the mattress.
You couldn't get it out?
Exactly.
Okay, ball in your court.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Are you going to remain with him?
I believe so, unless if we can come to a peaceful agreement.
Is what you're telling me going back to the apartment that you shared together has to do with her buying you a new mattress?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Chelsea Caston says former roommate Michelle Sagaminaga owes for a mattress that was soiled by her dog. Michelle has a countersuit for property damaged by Chelsea's dog.
Now, describe the mattress when you came home.
It was completely disheveled. My comforter had been moved off to the side and it was soiled. I went to Petco and got some kind of cleaner that's for this type of mess, but it had seeped into the mattress.
You couldn't get it out?
Exactly.
Okay. Ball's in your court.
Yes. As you can tell from the photos, that looks more of a throw-up kind of soil.
Could be.
And Pudge is known to have upset stomachs. He always comes home and he gets very excited to see both Chelsea and I, and he likes to have accidents. Pepper.
I'm asking you.
Oh, yeah.
No attitude. The only attitude here is mine.
Sorry, Your Honor.
Plaintiff said that when she left on vacation, which sounds very logical, if she left from her home and if there was a mess in her room, would not have left for a week unless she's a nut. I don't think she's a nut. So
she packed
when
her
she came home. When she came home, she immediately discussed this with you as soon as she saw you. Is that a yes or a no?
No.
Tell me when the first time you discussed this problem with the defendant was.
I had immediately confronted her.
Well, tell me what you said to her. You came home on the 20th?
Yes. I was screaming.
Was she home?
Yes. I was screaming that there was...
Mess.
A mess.
I'm not sure what it was, but there was a mess.
There was a mess in my bed, and my dog had not been home.
And what did she say?
And she tried to act a little surprised.
But she tried to act. What did she say?
She said that it wasn't her dog and that she had seen it, but did not want to clean it up because she didn't want to take ownership of it.
How many bedrooms are there in this apartment?
2 bedroom.
Now, you're with your boyfriend, is that right?
Yes.
Are you going to remain with him?
I believe so, unless if we can come to a peaceful agreement.
Well, what kind of peaceful agreement do you think you can come to?
I'm not quite sure at this moment.
Is what you're telling me going back to the apartment that you shared together has to do with her buying you a new mattress?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Is what you're telling me going back to the apartment that you shared together has to do with her buying you a new mattress?
Yes.
And that's a $3,000 mattress.
No, don't be ridiculous. She's not going to get $3,000 for a mattress. What size bed do you have?
A California king.
It would be a fair statement that since you have no documentation in front of you, you have no receipt for this mattress because it was a gift.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Now you have a counterclaim. And your counterclaim is that her dog damaged some of your clothes. I don't care.
Your Honor, Pudge, he has this ointment.
I don't care. You moved in with dogs. I don't care. Her dog has ointment and rubs his face on your clothes. I don't care. That's what you moved in with. You have to give us $600 for a new mattress. We're done. Thank you.
Parties are excused. Step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
You know, dogs are dogs. She came in. I shouldn't have to replace her mattress because she knows what dogs do.
She admitted that her dog had soiled my bed.
I refused to touch it.
$600 isn't even... I can't do this.
And also, it didn't smell, so I had no idea.
I'm not going to live with her. I'm just going to pay my rent.
I don't think that there's going to be a friendship anymore.
He lied to you, and you promised her nobody else would drive the truck.
His unlicensed friend got the keys.
What did he say to you?
He said, sure, you can drive as long as you do not go fast.
And the result was pretty predictable.
She crashed it into the school. How much is that damage?
A few dollars short of $10,000.
This time, the car was destroyed and the school was destroyed.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Sheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Amy Thompson is suing the parents of her son's friend, Lynn Burleson, and his ex-wife, Tiffany Burleson, for the value of a totaled truck.
Order. All rise.
It's case number 311 on the calendar, the matter of Thompson versus Burleson.
Thank you.
Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Miss Thompson, which one of these two young men is your son?
Matthew's in the green.
You can stand up next to your mother. You're Haley?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you stand up next to your folks? Thank you. Neither one of you was present at the time that this accident took place.
No, Your Honor.
But according to what I read, your son was driving your car.
Yes, ma'am.
Which you let him take to school.
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of car is it?
It was a 2008 Dodge Ram quad cab.
And on the 27th of February of this year, you were driving the car to school.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you arrive at school without incident?
Yes, ma'am.
And you came out of school, and you know Haley.
Yes, ma'am.
Haley's a friend of yours?
Yes, ma'am.
Somehow, Haley got behind the wheel of Miss Thompson's car, was driving around the parking lot at school. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And crashed it. She crashed it into the school. So the car was totaled, and you are being held responsible as her parents, since she's a minor, for the damage that the truck caused to the school.
Yes.
How much is that damage?
A few dollars short of $10,000.
Have you paid any of it?
Yes, ma'am. We've been paying on it monthly.
And how much did you pay for the truck that your son was driving?
We paid $7,500 for it.
And it's totaled.
Yes, ma'am.
So each of the parents is out well over the court's limit because I have a claim against Haley's parents for the value of the car, and they have a counterclaim, and their allegation is your son should not have let their daughter drive this car. They don't permit her to drive. She doesn't have a license, and therefore, owing to his actions, you are being held responsible by the school, which you've been paying this bill monthly.
Yes, ma'am.
And so they're counterclaiming. That's what this lawsuit is about. And your position is that Haley drove without your son's permission.
Yes, ma'am. I have witnesses who saw the interaction.
Haley.
Yes, Your Honor.
Prior to February 27th, 2018, had you ever driven plaintiff's truck before?
Yes, Your Honor.
Of course you have. How many times had you driven?
Once time prior to the incident.
Tell me when.
After youth group one evening.
And tell me the circumstances surrounding you driving the truck on that day.
He let me drive the truck around.
No, don't say he let me.
Okay.
I want you to go step by step, not on February 27th, but the incident before when you drove the truck. Where were you both?
At church, at Fellowship Church.
You remember that?
Yes, ma'am.
So, do you want to tell me how she got possession of your truck?
After youth group, I allowed her to go sit in my truck because I like to stay afterwards and talk and play games with everyone. And I came out, and she had been driving it around the parking lot.
What do you mean you let her sit in your truck? What does that mean?
She would just go in there and...
Well, most people, when they park their truck wherever they are, they take the keys with them.
Yes, ma'am.
And since you're going to church, where do you live?
In Liberty Hill, Texas.
You didn't lock the car.
Probably not,
No,
ma'am.
probably not. And so you had the keys with you, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, when she wanted to go and sit in the truck, you don't need the keys to go and sit in the truck. All you do is open the car and you can sit in the truck, right? It's not going to turn out well. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
So I don't care what you told your mother before.
He told me that he had allowed her to drive the truck on that day.
Fine, then why is he saying I told her she could sit in the truck?
Well, when... He told me that she...
Do you understand what I've just said to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Today, if he told you that he allowed her to drive the truck before, and today he said he allowed her to just sit in the truck because she likes to... Then he was not telling me I allowed her to drive the truck. He said he allowed her to sit in the truck.
But then when he went to the parking lot, he actually allowed her to drive the truck down the road.
That's not what he said to me. I just want you to understand that.
Yes, ma'am. But initially he had said, you can go sit in my truck. And then he did let her drive it around the parking lot and down the road to the Tractor Supply, where he asked her to pull over. This was the statement he gave the sheriff.
I don't
Because
care.
she wasn't a good driver. Okay. Sorry.
So your son allowed somebody without a driver's license to drive?
He did not know at the time.
Don't tell me what he knew.
Okay. Can he tell you?
Don't tell me what he knew.
Okay.
He allowed somebody else to drive the truck. When you gave him the truck, did you tell him nobody else is allowed to drive the truck other than you?
Yes, Your
And
Honor.
I've had 5 children. They've all had cars. That's the drill. Nobody but you can drive the car. It's not your car. It's my car.
Yes, Your Honor.
My insurance. Nobody else can drive it. And he disobeyed you.
Yes, ma'am.
And you would not have found out about it but for the fact that on that prior occasion, did the police pull you over?
No, ma'am.
When did you tell the police about the prior incident?
At the incident at the school.
And tell me how that came about, that you told the police about that incident.
They'd asked me if she'd driven the car before, and I told them the other story about how I'd let her drive the Tractor Supply.
And that's the only other time that you drove?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now I'd like you to tell me how you got possession of the car keys on February 27th of this year.
I asked him for them.
Where were you when you went?
We were in the football stadium watching a soccer game.
Together?
Yes.
And you asked him for the keys, and what did he say to you?
He said, sure, you can drive as long as you do not go fast.
You asked him for the keys. Didn't he say why do you want the keys?
He knew why.
No, don't tell me what he knew.
Yes, ma'am.
The question is, you were sitting and watching a game. You said, can I have the keys? You had driven the car before. The car is unlocked. And he handed you the keys.
Yes, ma'am.
What did you do when you got the keys?
I asked him, I was like, you're sure about this? And he goes, yes, just don't go fast.
What did you do?
I walked towards the baseball fields where the truck was parked, which isn't far from the stadium, got in the car, started it, drove around the baseball field to the stadium, and was driving down the bus lane, and that is when I crashed.
Were you going any place in particular?
I was going to park it over there. I was driving, just simply.
You were going to park it closer to where he was?
Yes, ma'am.
Had you told him that?
Yes, Your Honor.
When did you tell him that?
In the minute I said, do you want me to drive it back over there, like as in back to the baseball fields, or park it over here where we were located? And he said, over here's fine.
Now I want you to tell me your version. You're watching a game with your friend Haley.
Yes, ma'am. So we were sitting watching the game, and she asked me if she could go get her bag out of my truck, because the track where she would throw shot put is very close to the baseball field. And after practice, she left her bag in there with some portable chargers and her shoes. And so she asked me if she could go get her bag and the portable chargers out of my truck. And since we were watching the soccer game, I didn't want to leave the game because there was a large group of us. So I gave her the keys to go get her bag. And
why would you need the keys to do that?
Because the car in that incident was locked.
Really?
Yes.
Was the car locked?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
So after about 20 minutes, I hadn't really realized that she hadn't come back yet. And
Why? Just a second. How did you get to the game?
I drove my car. It was after baseball practice.
And did you give her a lift?
From after school around to the baseball field, yes, ma'am.
And after the game, were you going home together?
No, ma'am.
I mean, you weren't going to drop her off or anything else?
I don't...
You're never going to think faster than where I'm going. Never.
All right.
After the game, were you going to drive her home?
No, ma'am.
Have you ever driven her home before?
Yes, ma'am, I had.
How many times had you driven her home before?
5 to 10 times.
What I'm trying to figure out is why she would want to go and get her bag out of your truck before the game is over if she was coming back. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Why would one want to go and get their shoes and their bag that they left in the truck in order to bring them in? Because she would, of necessity, if she was just going to get her bags, she would have to have brought the keys back to you, which means she was bringing her shoes and her bag that she left in the truck initially.
Yes, ma'am.
Why would she go and bring that back? Had you discussed with Matthew his driving you home after the game?
No, Your Honor.
How were you getting home after the game?
I believe my dad was coming to pick me up that night.
So there might have been a reason why you went to get your bag from the car.
Yes, ma'am. But that's not what happened.
That's exactly what Matt told me.
Just a second.
I'm sorry.
I don't care. Do you know when you know a teenager is lying?
Your Honor, teenagers lie. I have 8 children.
Yeah.
But
When
this
their
one is
mouths
not
move.
lying today.
Well,
his story hasn't changed
Just a
one
second.
bit.
He lied to you. He lied to you.
He was disobedient.
Just a second. Not only did he lie to you, but he broke his promise to you. Right? Twice.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
This could have turned out way different.
Let me tell you, it could have turned out way different.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Amy Thompson says her son's friend, 17-year-old Haley Burleson, totaled his truck. Haley's parents, Lynn Burleson and ex-wife Tiffany, are countersuing for damaged property.
Okay, both of your children were irresponsible. As a result of Mr. and Mrs. Burleson's child's irresponsibility, they're paying the school $10,000 because Haley could have just as easily crashed the car after the church group. Then she had permission. So that puts a certain onus on you because you've given your son the responsibility of a couple of £1,000 of what could be a lethal weapon.
Yes, ma'am. I feel like you're not hearing the whole story.
I know the whole story. This time, he got in trouble for it. You see, the last time he gave her permission, nobody knew, nobody was the wiser, and they were friends. This time, the car was destroyed, and the school was destroyed. Somebody want to show me a picture of the school? Is that what you're showing me?
Yes, we have a video of the accident.
I'd
and
like
I
to
also
see
have
it.
some photos of the truck if you'd like to see.
Sure.
And here's some photos of the truck.
Now, we've never seen this video. The school would not release it to us.
Well, I would like to see it.
Me
Wouldn't
too.
you?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. This could have turned out way different.
Let me tell you, it could have turned out way different. Miss Thompson, I'm not diminishing Mr. and Mrs. Burleson's responsibility for having a child who did the wrong thing because you knew, according to your parents' statement, they didn't give you permission to drive. They didn't get you a license for whatever reason. That was their choice. They didn't feel as if you were responsible enough, and you drove without permission. So I'm not diminishing that. That's your fault. That's your responsibility. And your parents have to assume the responsibility because you don't have enough money to pay this. And I guarantee you that they don't have an extra 10 grand floating around to pay for your irresponsibility. And I guarantee...
Neither do we.
Well, neither do you. That's why they're paying for it. It was their irresponsibility. On the other hand, Miss Thompson, you don't seem to recognize that you have insurance on this car. And if something bad happened to Haley as a result of this accident and it was your car, they would sue you.
Yes, ma'am.
And they would win. Now, your son has to accept responsibility because if he gave, let us assume, in the best possible light, I'm believing what he's saying, which I'm really not. But let's assume that I'm believing what he's saying based on his immediate past behavior in giving her the keys and letting her drive. It's not such a far stretch for her to say, you know what? I've driven the car before. It was fine. I'm going to bring the car closer to where we are. Now I have my things closer, and I'll give him back the car keys. Not as if he didn't let me drive it before. Let me drive it before. I was careful. Nothing happened to the car. I have the keys. I'm just going to drive it from the football field to the baseball field.
But, Your Honor, I have a witness that very evening who heard the whole interaction.
Oh, I would love to hear the witness who heard the whole... Just a second. I would love to hear the witness who had a bird's eye view of the entire incident. Is that you?
Yes, ma'am.
Name.
My name is Grant, Your Honor.
Go.
Haley did not have permission.
Don't tell me what she didn't have.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
When we came back from Sonic, her stuff was still in the truck. I left my backpack in his truck.
I'm not there yet. I know you want to tell me the story so you don't forget what you remembered.
cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Amy Thompson claims her son's friend, 17-year-old Haley Burleson, totaled his truck when she drove it without permission.
Now, I want to know where you were seated.
I was sitting right next to him.
No, just a second. You were sitting right next to whom?
Matt and Haley.
No, you couldn't have been sitting next to both unless you were sitting in the middle. Were you sitting in the middle?
No, ma'am.
So who were you sitting next to?
Matthew.
Who was sitting next to you?
My friend who was taking me home later that night, Pudge.
So you drove with him?
Yes.
Okay. And they drove together?
Yes.
So they gone to
So did you meet up with Matthew after practice?
Yes.
Where was he?
I didn't see him. I have no clue where he was at.
Was he at the game with you?
Later on, yes, he was.
Was he sitting next to Matthew?
He wasn't directly next to Matthew.
Who was next to Matthew?
There was a group of girls, and I don't remember who they were.
Does that refresh your recollection, Grant?
No, ma'am.
No. Now I want...
Your Honor, me, Matthew, and Pudge had went to Sonic, and she had asked to come with us after practice, and we told her no because her practice wasn't done. So when we came back from Sonic, her stuff was still in the truck. I left my backpack in his truck.
I'm not there yet. I know you want to tell me the story so you don't forget what you remembered. Do you understand?
Yes, sure.
I'm not there yet. Now, I want you to tell me at what point Matthew gave Haley the keys to his car in the conversation that you tell me that you overheard your friend Matthew and Haley having about the keys when you were sitting right next to him, not with a girl in between. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Perfect.
Your Honor, I had asked Matthew for the keys first to go get my backpack out of his truck, and he told me, do not drive his truck.
Just a second. So you asked him for the keys.
Yes, Your Honor.
And did he give you the keys?
He gave me the keys.
Just a second. I'm not finished. So he gave you the keys.
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you get the backpack?
Yes, ma'am.
How heavy was your backpack?
Not that heavy.
When you went to get your backpack, did you see Haley's backpack?
Yes.
If I were to believe you, you were sitting right next to him, asked him for his keys, he gave you his keys, and you had a conversation. You said, I'm going to get my backpack out of the car,
yes,
which is a walk.
Yes, Your Honor.
Wouldn't it strike you as logical that if Haley just wanted her backpack, she would have said, could you grab mine too?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, of course. And it would be logical then for Matthew to say, if you went, got your backpack, came back with your backpack, and then she says to him, it's the next quarter, now can I have the keys to go get my backpack? For Haley to walk that same distance that you walked from practice back to the field, the logical step was, he was going. Why didn't you tell him to get your backpack if you were going to the car? Wouldn't that sound logical to you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Sit down.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, you're going to pay for your own car, Miss Thompson. The Burlesons are paying for the damage that was caused by your son permitting their daughter to drive the truck when you clearly admonished him and made him promise not to do that. He did the wrong thing. If I believed what he says, which I don't, and I certainly don't believe him, if I believed what he says, there's nothing logical about it. First, one kid goes to get their backpack, then another kid goes to get their backpack. He had given Haley license to drive his car. He had done that before. And I don't think that there's any question that when she went to get the backpack, there was a conversation between the two of them. Did you want me to bring it up closer to where
Your
we
Honor,
were?
that's
I'm speaking. I'm speaking. So you each have your own problems with your own children. You're responsible for driving the truck when your parents told you not to drive, period. And you're responsible for letting somebody else drive the truck when your mother told you and you promised her nobody else would drive the truck. Got it? So pay for your own car and you pay for your own damage to the school. We're done. Thank you.
Parties are excused when they step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
A home seller renovates an agreement.
They would buy it for $135,000, which was your original deal, but they weren't going to pay $175,000. Are you out of your mind?
No.
Judge Judy.
She lied. The truth wasn't heard today.
Both kids were responsible, and she saw that.
I have all kinds of text messages of them promising to pay me.
In fact, we're paying the majority, which is $10,000 to the school.
We are not friends anymore.
Oh, no, we haven't been friends because he's harassed me and bullied me no matter what, all over social media, all over in school, and has made my life miserable in high school.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of King versus Belts. Step forward.
David King is suing custom car painter Jeffrey Belts for the return of money he paid to refurbish a Pontiac GTO.
Mr. King, you bought an old car, 1967 Pontiac, that needed body work and paint. You took the car to the defendant to fix. You agreed on a price of $6,500 to do the work on the car. You paid him the $6,500. He worked on the car, and you picked up the car, and now you're dissatisfied. You want the money back for fixing it, or at least the court's maximum of $5,000. When did you purchase the car?
I purchased the car approximately 10 years ago. In New Jersey.
From whom?
From a gentleman named Al.
And at that time, how much did you pay him for the car?
I paid approximately $2,400 for the car.
Was it drivable?
No.
Did you fix it so that it became drivable?
Well, that was the idea.
So is what you're telling me that for 10 years, the car just sat?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You're looking through it too fast, sir.
No, I mean, I've seen a lot of these photos before, but...
That's $6,500 worth of work.
Well, if it were done correctly, it would be, but it wasn't done correctly.
Did you inspect it before you had it towed someplace else?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
David King is suing custom car painter Jeffrey Belts for the return of money he paid to refurbish a Pontiac GTO.
When did you purchase the car?
I purchased the car approximately 10 years ago in New Jersey.
Was it drivable?
No.
Did you fix it so that it became drivable?
Well, that was the idea.
So is what you're telling me that for 10 years, the car just sat?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you brought it to the defendant?
Correct.
In what month?
In April 21st, 2016.
So it was sitting in your backyard, in your house?
In a friend's garage.
So you brought it to the defendant 2 years ago?
Correct.
And when did you pick it up from him?
October 23rd, 2017.
So he worked on it for a long time?
Yes.
Or stored it? Do you have a photograph of the car when you brought it into him?
I do.
I'd like to take a look at a photograph when you brought it into him. By the way, you towed it to him, correct?
Correct. Yes, this is a close-up view of the rear of the vehicle.
I'd like to take a look at the whole car. Do you have a picture of the whole car? You do?
I have pictures.
I'd like to see it.
These are actually, this is when it came in a chronological through when it left.
Oh, it was really just a shell. It was a nothing.
Yes.
Oh, I'm looking at this picture. It's an absolute nothing. It's a wreck.
Well, that's what it has to look like before it's restored.
Just a second. That's
Everything is
what it
taken up.
looked like when you brought it into him.
Yes.
Okay.
If you go to the last pictures, it has when it left.
Just a second. I'm looking.
In the pictures that I gave you.
Just a second. I'm looking at his pictures. They're much better than yours.
Okay.
Now, did you drive it out of his shop?
No.
It was towed out of his shop?
Yes.
To where?
It was towed to another friend that was going to hold on to it for me until it could be worked on again.
Were you supposed to do anything other than the body work?
No, it wasn't a restoration. I was commissioned to put the quarter panels on and paint the exterior and interior.
I see what you did. I'm going to show these pictures to the plaintiff. But you weren't commissioned to do the motor, to make it runnable.
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're looking through it too fast, sir?
No, I mean, I've seen a lot of these photos before, but...
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
You're looking through it too fast, sir?
No, I mean, I've seen a lot of these photos before, but...
Okay. That's $6,500 worth of work.
Well, if it were done correctly, it would be, but it wasn't done correctly.
Did you inspect it before you had it towed someplace else?
Well, when we came to pick
Just
the
a
car
second.
up, yes.
and you took it someplace else.
Yes.
And you picked it up on October 23rd, 2017?
Yes.
When did you contact the defendant to indicate to him that for some reason you were not satisfied with his work?
I called him May 21st, 2018 at 9:24 in the morning.
So between October 23rd, 2017 and May 21st, 2018, after you had paid the defendant, you had no contact with him.
Well,
is what not a well. That's either no, I did have contact with him, or I did not have contact with him.
Once I picked the car up, I did not have contact with him.
Between October 23rd, 2017 and May, almost 7 months. Is that correct?
Yes.
Too much time. Your case is dismissed. We're done.
Some time was spent trying to make her straight.
We are done. Thank you. Bye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Because he was a mutual friend, and we decided he was the best person for the job.
They brought me a car that obviously needed a ton of work.
When I saw the finished product.
So when they brought it over, I did what I was supposed to do.
The trunk deck lid doesn't close. The rear quarter panels aren't.
I wasn't commissioned to do a restoration.
Correctly spaced, and the rear window pan is too high.
I was to put on the quarter panels, paint the outside of the car.
A final restored muscle car could be worth upwards of $35,000, $40,000 to $50,000.
There was some other issues. They were aware of it. They were going to take care of that at the other end, not with me.
I'm going to have to probably scrap it.
Always have a contract from now on.
For damages resulting from a dog attack.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Case number 2002, Kwan versus Lancaster.
Mr. Kwan, succinctly, your case involves an attack of a dog that was being walked by Miss Lancaster. She was a dog walker. She didn't own the dog.
Correct.
Dog got away from her, and according to you, attacked your dog, and you want to be compensated to the tune of $10,000.
Correct.
You were neither hospitalized, correct?
I was not hospitalized.
You were neither hospitalized, and your dog was not hospitalized.
Correct.
I assume that you have some medical evidence as a result of this incident to show me that you suffered from a dog bite.
Yes.
Okay. And the dog bite was from the dog that was being walked by Miss Lancaster.
Walked is, I'm not sure if I would use the term.
She's a dog walker.
Yes,
She's
but it was
a dog
off
walker.
leash.
She's not the owner of the dog.
Correct.
The incident happened at what date and time?
December 22nd, 2021 at approximately 1:30 p.m.
And you were walking your dog, which is what breed?
A 20-pound wiener dog mix.
And you were a dog walker. How long had you been in charge of walking this dog?
At that point, it was about a week.
What kind of dog was it?
I believe it was a boxer mix. Not 100% sure.
How old?
2, 3 years old, give or take.
Who are the owners of the dog?
The owners, I can't remember their name. One of Mike, but I don't remember their last names. But
you remember the owners' names?
Yes.
And it would be fair to say that you knew their names because you tried to sue them.
I contacted them, yes, but did not sue them.
And you contacted them because they're the owners of the dog and they have a house. Mm-hmm. Is not an answer.
Yes.
And the house usually has homeowners insurance.
Correct.
Correct? And after contacting them, and it's their dog, so they are ultimately responsible for their dog, you opted not to seek compensation for your alleged injuries and this attack, but to sue the dog walker.
Correct.
Just my own information, Mr. Kwan, do you want to tell me why you did that?
Yeah. So per California strict liability law, anybody who takes physical or any sort of attacks or damages it causes while they are responsible for that dog. Regardless
okay, just a second. So what you're saying is in the state of California, if you are walking a dog, and she says she was walking this dog for a week, how many times a day, every day?
2 times a day.
Twice a day. And she had this job for a week. That under all circumstances, she is responsible for any injury that the dog does. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
And what code is that?
I have a statute over here.
Just tell me the statute.
Per California dog bite law. I don't have the number, but I can bring it up to the,
Would you bring it up?
The court.
It's California Civil Code 3342.
Do you have it?
I could pull it up. I have my notes.
Could you pull it up for me? Mm-hmm. And I'll come back to you in a second, Sarah. I'm just curious about it. Okay, now let's tell me about the incident, sir.
Sure. So at the time that I described earlier, I was walking my 20-pound wiener dog Mix while my mother walked my infant son, who was 3 months at the time, in a stroller.
Care.
Okay.
I mean, it's not that I don't care about him and I don't care about your mother, but they have nothing to do with this case.
Well, they do have something to do with this case because when we turned onto the block, I turned and I saw an off-leash dog roughly 3 times the size of mine, and I saw the defendant, Miss Lancaster. She gave no warning that the dog was off-leash, and at that point, I later learned that the dog...
No, don't tell me, just tell me what happened, sir.
Okay.
You saw Miss Lancaster, and she was walking this dog off-leash.
Correct.
And?
She gave no indication?
No, not that she gave me no indication. Okay. She was walking this dog off-leash.
Correct.
So you saw the dog off-leash.
Yes.
Okay.
And
about how far were you from her when you saw the dog off-leash?
Across the street, so roughly 40 feet.
Okay, and across the street?
Yes, and started aggressively biting, lunging, and barking at my dog.
Okay, so at that point, the dog ran across the street and is in an aggressive stance barking at your dog.
Correct.
Hadn't touched your dog.
Correct.
Okay. What happened next?
It then diverted its attention towards my infant son in a stroller and my mother and started jumping on the stroller.
Did the dog, in fact, jump on the stroller?
Yes.
And?
And my response was to try to divert the attention.
What did you do? The dog jumped on the stroller.
Yes.
Didn't hurt your son, didn't hurt your mother.
Yes. So I got the attention of the dog again.
How did you do that?
By picking up my dog, who was on leash.
Well, that doesn't necessarily get attention of the dog. You say, hey!
Correct. Correct.
But you didn't say that. You just picked up your dog.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Probably exclaimed in order to get the attention of the dog.
You told me what you did. You picked up your dog and
started running across the street.
Started running across the street in the direction of where the dog had come from?
Correct.
And at that time, the dog was on the other side of the street.
Yes.
So let me understand this. You pick up your dog. Your mother is standing behind you in the stroller with your son. You leave your mother, your son, on one side of the street, and you grab your wiener dog Mix and run across the street.
Correct. This was after I got the attention of the dog, by the way.
Okay. So now you got the attention of the dog.
Yes.
Ran across the street, so you were trying to divert the dog's attention, and the dog followed you.
Yes, it chased me.
Good. And you were running in her direction?
No. The Miss Lancaster had crossed the street at that point to where we were originally walking.
She was on your side of the street. You were going back to where you had initially seen her.
Correct.
Okay, so she had followed her dog across the street.
Yes.
Was she saying anything?
We made repeated pleas to ask for her to control the situation.
She ran across the street, because all this happened within seconds.
Yes.
She ran across the street. Was she saying anything to the dog?
She was yelling, "I'm so sorry, and I can't do anything."
Okay, is that what you were yelling? Okay. And
after I ran across the street, when the dog chased me, I fell down. The dog ended up biting me on my left arm.
Okay. And I'd like to see whatever medical report you have from the bite on your left arm.
So the doctor said that...
No, don't tell me what the doctor said.
I haven't...
Could I see?
I have a picture.
May I see
Absolutely.
A medical... Did you understand my words? I said, may I see a medical report
I do not
from
have a
the
medical report.
So you didn't go to the doctor? The question is, did you go to the doctor, Mr.
I did
Kwan?
a virtual doctor's visit because this was during the height of the pandemic.
And what was the name of the doctor with whom you had a virtual visit?
I do not remember.
Should remember. You're suing for $10,000. You should have all that information. Because if you have a virtual medical visit, Mr. Kwan, there is a record of that. Doctor keeps a record of that. Do you understand?
Correct.
Okay. So now you're down, and this happened, according to you, on December 22nd. Did you get the dog's information?
I did.
On December 22nd?
Yes.
When did you speak to the owners of the dog?
I spoke to the owners actually that day because I wanted to get the rabies vaccination paperwork.
Did you get the rabies vaccination paperwork?
Yes.
On the 22nd?
Yes.
Now I'll see your photograph, sir.
I have that statute whenever you're ready.
I got it. Timing is everything. Okay, so the knee injury is when you fell.
Correct.
And the arm is a combination scratch and maybe tooth mark.
Yes, there are tooth marks on there, but not punctured.
I don't know. This long thing is not a tooth mark. So just one other question, Mr. Kwan. When you told the owners about this on the 22nd, when was the next time you contacted them? First, you wanted to find out whether or not the dog, that you didn't have to see a doctor other than a virtual visit with a doctor whose name you don't remember. When did you decide not to sue the owners of the dog, who are homeowners, and who have homeowners insurance?
Yep. I wrote the owners of the dog a demand letter, and that is when I contacted them back, probably about 2 months after the incident.
Okay, so you wrote them a demand letter.
Correct.
And did they respond to your demand letter?
Yes.
Do you have copies of those letters?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see copies of your letter and their response.
That's the demand letter that I
just want to see copies of your letter and their response. Are they both here?
They did. They responded by calling me on the phone, not with a formal written statement.
Really?
Derek Kwan claims dog walker Danielle Lancaster owes for injuries resulting from a dog attack.
Okay. Well, you say the dog's a pit bull. The dog was a pit bull?
I believe so.
Dog a pit bull?
I asked after the incident. I did ask as well if it was a pit bull. They said no, it's a boxer mix.
Do you have a video of the incident? You have a video? Somebody has a video?
Yeah.
Correct.
Someone's Ring camera.
Okay. I'm going to allow you to tell me what the owner said in the conversation that they had with you. I'm not accepting it for the truth of the statement, only that you had a conversation with them, which is why you brought this action against Miss Lancaster today.
Correct.
So they decided, we're not going to put this in writing, we're going to call Mr. Kwan.
Correct.
And what did they tell you?
They were very amicable about the situation, and we're trying to solve the situation to make me whole.
Being amicable is subjective. I want you to tell me what you said to them and what they said to you.
What they said to me was that they would look into their homeowner's insurance policy in order to compensate me. Through a series of conversations, I decided that my grievance was not towards them because they were not exhibiting negligence in this situation.
Oh, no, I don't believe that, Mr. Kwan. Be very careful about what you say to me, sir. As between homeowners who have insurance and this young woman who has to walk dogs for a living, if I was somebody interested in $17,000, I wouldn't sue her. I would sue somebody who had Kathy Bates. So that answer that you just gave me was a whole lot of who shot John. The reason you decided not to proceed against the dog's owners is what?
The reason why I proceeded not to go against the dog's owners is because I have because some things are more important than money. And in this situation, I have more of an issue with the dog walker and her behavior during this situation rather than being compensated.
Well, let me suggest this to you, Mr. Kwan. There is no question that if Miss Lancaster was walking this dog and the dog was off leash, she was negligent. There's also no question in my mind that the extent of your damages is excessive. Very excessive. So,
but we're only counting physical damages.
Just a second. What I'm telling you is the amount of your damages is excessive. And if you wanted anywhere near that money, you could have sued both people. You could have sued the owner of the dog, as not only did they have the dog that attacked you, but they have, as Kathy Bates would say, insurance. And you would join the defendant as a party to that action. You would say you're all responsible. You own the dog, which you say was a pit bull, which you say was a pit bull, who just mauled and killed somebody in New York last week. An owner. You didn't do that. So I'm not getting all of this kumbaya business that the person responsible. Do you understand?
Yeah,
I'm just not buying it, Mr. Kwan. We understand each other?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. For somebody who has no medical, you had injuries, and you have to be compensated. You had no good excuse for walking the dog off leash.
I wasn't walking him off leash. When I was in the house happened, I had a key on the other side of the door. When I reached for that key, he scooted as hard as I could between my legs and got out. It wasn't that I was walking him and just decided to take him off the leash.
So you were negligent in letting the dog out?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the dog had also...
When I was trying to get him back in, but many attempts, he was very hard to get in. And at that point, I was already having a panic attack, very emotional.
No.
Okay.
Now, Miss Lancaster, let's get it together. Let's get it together. Mr. Kwan says that the dog was out for a period of time and you weren't chasing the dog when he first saw you. You were in a walking mode. So the dog may have initially gotten out. Miss Lancaster, don't. You know, I'm an ecumenical abuser. Were you out with the dog for a period of time?
Yes.
Did you have a leash in your hand?
I think...
is not an answer. Did you have a leash in your hand?
No.
How long were you out with the dog?
Probably around an hour at that point.
Okay.
I was trying to get him back in, and twice I did have him by the collar, and he wasn't having it.
You didn't have him by the collar when he ran across the street?
No, but before then I did.
I don't care what happened before then.
Okay.
Before then, I was 21 years old, and I looked great in a bikini. Now, not so much. All right, Mr. Kwan, this letter was written to Miss Lancaster.
Correct.
I asked you for the letter that you wrote to the owners of the dog.
I do not have that with me right now.
Could we key up this video that I understand we have?
You can see my mother and infant son fleeing.
I am so sorry.
Call the person out. He bit me.
I know I will because he bit me too. I know.
Just grab him by the neck.
I can't. He bit me twice on my hand already. I don't know what to do. It's been an hour. I seriously don't know what to do. He bit me twice already. And I tried to get him on the leash, and he bit me twice. I don't know what to do. I am so sorry. I am so sorry.
Can I see the beginning of that and see if you can freeze frame on the dog, please? By the way, you do have a leash in you. I'm going to walk over to the monitor.
So although the statute uses the word owner, there's vicarious liability if someone else assumed responsibility of the dog, even though the statute is clear, it only lists the word owner. But in California, they could be held liable through vicarious liability, a walker.
A walker.
That assumed responsibility for the animal.
Okay. He neither suffered serious physical injury, certainly not serious enough for him not to go to work for a week, unless you model Bermuda shorts. You don't model Bermuda shorts, do you, Mr. Kwan?
Just in my spare time.
Of course not.
Derek Kwan says dog walker Danielle Lancaster owes for damages after he was attacked by the dog Danielle was walking.
Okay, so, Miss Lancaster, it does appear to me that you were sort of overwhelmed by this dog.
Yes.
But
very much.
Bottom line is that Mr. Kwan was injured and frightened, not seriously injured, but seriously enough that if it were me, I would be furious as a result of your negligence. And he neither suffered serious physical injury, certainly not serious enough for him not to go to work for a week. I don't know what kind of work you do, but not serious enough unless you, unless you model Bermuda shorts. You don't model Bermuda shorts, do you, Mr. Kwan?
Just in my spare time.
Of course not. And you had no medical bills because you didn't see a doctor. But you were attacked. And I actually don't know why you didn't sue the... And it is possible in California that certain dogs are not insurable. I don't know the answer to that question. It will not insure you in a homeowner's policy if you have a certain kind of dog. Are you familiar with that, sir?
Yes.
What are you familiar with? You're very familiar with statutes. So what is the law in California with regard to insurance? Can you be denied insurance or have to pay an excess premium if you have a dog that is either a pit bull or a pit bull mix?
I believe so.
You believe so. And would it be a fair statement, sir, that their homeowners either covered their dog or didn't?
They were looking into it, and they had renter's insurance that I believe covered it.
That you believe covered it? Oh, very foolish of you not to go against them. Okay. If you accept responsibility for a dog, you're supposed to be smart enough to look at a dog and say, you know what, why would you ask what kind of dog this is? Now, you let the dog out, and the dog was out with you for an hour. For an
Yes, yeah.
And during that time, you were walking around the neighborhood, and you had sufficient opportunity. You were walking around the neighborhood.
I wouldn't say walking. I was clearly trying to get the dog back in, and twice I did have him by the collar, and that's what I said in the video. I had him by the collar, and then both times he turned to nip at me on my wrist, so which is why I let go, because I didn't want to get bit.
I know, you said it.
So I was trying to have him follow me, which is what the owners told me to do. I had treats in my hand.
So you called the owners?
Yes, I did call
you called the owners, and you told the owners what was going on?
Yes, I did. They knew what was going on.
I would have sued the owners. Mr. Kwan, I would have absolutely sued the owners, unless they didn't have insurance that covered the dog, which is a problem for them if they had renter's insurance. In any event, Miss Lancaster, you assumed responsibility of this dog, and based upon your own negligence, forget about the dog's breed, forget about these other people. As a result of your negligence, he was injured, and you have to compensate him for that. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. We're finished.
Court is adjourned.
I don't think he even got bit.
The doctor said that most of my injuries were emotional, but I did receive a bite from the dog onto my arm, but not a puncture wound.
I think he just, wanted some extra cash. I was literally having the whole panic attack, which is why, I had the reaction I did.
Yeah, I totally understand that, but the dog was off leash for an hour. She could have called the police or animal control during that time.
Don't open the door even in the slightest to a dog. Just wait till, they're away and gone.
Mostly my MO is getting back at those that I have grievances against.
Let's not even get started with dog breed, because I think the world knows where I live in that street. Mm-hmm. And 10 days ago, a woman who was watching a pit bull for one of her children, 64-year-old woman, her husband came home from work and found the dog eating her in the backyard. Sadly, she died. And there are certain breeds that are more dangerous than others. People have to recognize that. And if you choose to get a dog that is potentially more dangerous, and I know that there are pit bull lovers out there and say, mine is the sweetest, mine is the loveliest, but then you have to accept responsibility if there's an issue. And clearly this dog was an issue, because I believe this young woman. Mm-hmm. Didn't you believe her?
I believed her, and I think that dog walkers should also be cautious of what animals they're choosing to walk, because she could be held vicariously liable. So you might want to stick to 5-pound chihuahuas from now on, maybe.
Right. I mean, she was visibly very upset. Visibly, and she said on the video, he bit me twice on the hand, because she tried to get a hold of him. But she was still out with the dog for an hour. But he was, in fact, injured. Mm-hmm. And whether he went to the hospital or not, that's pretty traumatic.
Yeah, I don't think you can level it down to actual damages from a bill, but there's some component of punitive damages as well for the pain and suffering and trauma from an event like that.
That's true. But forget falling down and being attacked by a dog. Our family would feel as if, you've got a splinter in your hand as a result of somebody's negligence, or a nail that went into your foot as a result of somebody being...
All parties, please step forward.
Shalea Cosby is suing mechanic Kevin Warren for the repair cost of a car and lost wages.
Okay, Miss Cosby. According to your complaint, you parked your car near your home on a side street. You came out the next day and you found your car vandalized. Mm-hmm. Car was a 2017 Hyundai Elantra.
Correct.
Did you buy the car new or used?
Used.
And how much did you pay for the car?
I put a down payment of $1,350, I believe, $1,350.
So you financed the whole thing?
Yes.
And you have to have insurance on your car. You have to have liability, collision, all that other good stuff, because you have a loan.
Right.
And you did have insurance. Mm-hmm. Now, came out, you looked at your car and it was vandalized. What was wrong with it?
The back window was shattered, and along the side passenger top quarter panel, back passenger door, and the passenger mirror, it was shot.
You have photographs of it?
Yes.
I'd like to see it.
Right here.
Okay. Did you notify your insurance company?
I did.
On what date?
I came out and found my car vandalized. I submitted a police report. I have that right here.
I'd like to take a look at it, please.
And
okay, nothing with nothing. Okay, so you told the police about it on the 22nd.
Yes.
And when did you bring it in for the defendant to take a look at it?
That was August 18th.
She brought the car into you in August?
Yes.
And how long have you been in the auto repair business?
16 years.
So you've dealt with insurance adjusters before?
Yes.
And did you make the appointment for the insurance adjuster to come and look at the car?
They never came to look at it. Sometimes they just have me submit photos if they don't have anyone in the field to come look at the vehicle.
Okay. Now, when the plaintiff came in and brought you the car, did you have a discussion with her?
Yes, I did.
And I want you to tell me the best of your recollection. What?
Okay, like she said, she brought me the vehicle on August 19th. And she told me she took it from another shop. She had a problem with another shop getting the repairs done.
Tell me what kind of problem you had with another shop.
It was no problems with the other shops besides they didn't want to do the estimate on it and told me to talk to my insurance about it. And my insurance told me to find my own shop. And that's when I found it.
Just a second. Did your insurance company send you to the first shop that you went to?
Yes.
And for some reason, that first body shop was unsatisfactory to you. Mm-hmm. So you took it to the defendant. This is what the story is. The story is the defendant still has your car, right? Mm-hmm. And he's keeping your car because he says you didn't pay for the repairs. It's your position that you gave him the entire check from the insurance company. Is that your position? Speak. Be very careful what you tell me.
This is how her car looked when she brought it to me.
Oh, Miss Cosby, I have a feeling that you're not going to like the outcome of...
Shalea Cosby claims mechanic Kevin Warren owes for the repair cost of a car and lost wages.
The insurance checked the car.
Correct.
I'd like to see the check receipt that you received from the insurance company. Look, we're going to have trouble with each other, madam. Do you understand? This isn't the only check you got from the insurance company.
If you're talking about a check in 2020, that has no relevance to 2022 vandalism check.
I want to know how much you received from the insurance company.
$874.53.
Then can you tell me, I had a check from the insurance company, which was a little over $1,300 from their appraisal.
No, that's incorrect.
Well, that's what you wrote, madam. That's what you wrote. That's your signature. That's what you wrote.
I see the paper. The totaling was $1,374.53. I didn't receive a full $1,374.53 check from my insurance. I received $874.53 and had to pay.
Warren, tell me what the conversation was.
Before I got to him, I let him know what was going on, what I was going through.
No, not let him know. I asked you what you said to him and what he said to you. First of all, you didn't like the first place that the insurance company sent you to. I don't know why. All I know is when you're dealing with this kind of thing, everybody's trying to make a little bit extra. And it's been my experience, and maybe I'm wrong, that when you have a little accident, you take your car into a body shop. Very often, if that's their business, they say, this is what you want fixed, this is what the damage was. And the person who runs the body shop or the owner of the body shop will say to you, I'll take whatever the insurance is, I'll work with the adjuster. Mm-hmm. That's what they usually do. Correct, sir?
Yes.
Yes. And in this case, is that what happened?
No.
Is what I'm asking you. Because your complaint is that he has your car, won't give it back because he's put a mechanic's lien on it because he says that he did $6,000 worth of work on the car.
He did work that was not approved by me nor my insurance.
I'm just telling you. That's what he says. He did $6,000 worth of work on the car.
Okay.
Okay? But I have to tell you, Mr. Warren, that has been my experience, and I'm very old, that when you take a car in that's been in a company, and we all know what that means. That means that whatever your insurance company gives you, they'll send me the check. That will be what I'm going to accept for the work. Now, what you're suggesting is that she authorized you to do $6,000 worth of work, and you didn't speak to the insurance company.
I spoke with them plenty of times.
Oh, what did they tell you that they were sending her?
I have it here.
I'd like to see it.
I have 3 estimates here.
No, I want to see from the insurance company.
They're the insurance company estimates, not mine.
I'd like to see it.
Okay, here's the first one. Like she said, When she first brought her car to me, she had this one already for $873. Okay, so then what we do when we see more damage, we put what you call a supplement in. So I put a supplement in, and that's when they told me she has 2 claims. She has a claim for the auto body damage and a claim for the vandalism. The $874 is for the vandalism.
Hey, I see it, please.
That she put the claim in for. So these other 2 are for the auto body portion.
Not for the vandalism.
No, it's 2 different claims.
When she brought you the car, was there body damage on the car?
Absolutely. This is how the car looked when she brought this to me.
I'm not just talking about that. Can I see, please?
This is how her car looked when she brought it to me.
Oh, Miss Cosby, I have a feeling that you're not going to like the outcome of this.
Oh, no, I'm legit all the way around.
Oh,
so
really?
And those are the afterwards
Just
pictures.
a second. Just a second. This car was in a bad accident.
Yes, correct.
This car was in a bad accident. Hey, this car was in a bad accident shortly after you got it.
Correct.
Right. And you got a check from the insurance company to fix this.
Correct.
How much was the check that you got from the insurance company to fix this?
The total in amount, I'm not sure, but I think it was like 2001 or 2002.
And you didn't have it fixed.
No one wanted to fix it.
Well, he fixed it. Just a second. Hey, Miss Cosby, he fixed it.
Without
Just
my
a sec.
approval.
What did you do with the $2,000?
Oh, I paid my own personal bills because no one wanted to fix the car, so I have to keep living.
Your case is dismissed.
Okay.
How's that?
That's
Your
fine.
case. Absolutely a hustle. I actually think you're a hustler. That's why I'm not helping you.
That's fine.
Because you had an accident in 2020, you got a check from the insurance company to fix it. I don't know how much that check was because you don't have a copy of that check. You brought the car into him and said, now I have a broken back window. I have a feeling, and I know it's only a feeling, but this is my program, so I can vent that feeling, that you went to the first place to fix the car and you said to them, I want you to fix the front and the back, and they said no. That was for something else. You already got paid for that.
Incorrect.
So you went to him.
Estimate altogether.
Yeah, I don't believe you.
You don't have to.
I don't. Well, I don't. I don't.
have to.
That's why your case is dismissed.
That's fine.
Now I'm getting to your counterclaim. Because you put a mechanic's lien on the car?
Yes, I have it here.
Great. So you've got a mechanic's lien on it. She can't sell it. I'm not giving it back to her. I'm not ordering it back to her. You have the car?
Yes.
Sell it.
I need that. Or you can sign it just to set.
Oh, I can't.
To turn over.
Oh.
It says she has no more interest in the car.
I can't. She does have an interest. The car's got a lien on it, sir.
Absolutely.
Okay? You're going to have to pay off this note. Do you understand? I don't think you're going to be able to get the money after you pay off the note. But you fixed the car.
Absolutely.
And I think that you're entitled to money for fixing the car on your counterclaim. She's going to pay on your counterclaim because I'm not sure whether you're going to be able to get any money on this car. I don't know what's going to happen with this car. I'm just not returning it to her. Do you understand?
Yeah.
I'm going to try to make you as close to whole as you can be because I think what happened to you was a hustle. That's what I think. Usually I don't side with mechanics. It's just been my experience. But I think that
I'm glad you changed today.
I think that this is a hustle. $3,800 judgment for the defendant on the counterclaim. Thank you very much. We're done.
Adjourned.
Oh, I appreciate her decision. I believe she ruled the right decision because I brought all my paperwork and it wasn't another way to do that. She was gonna get the insurance and pay me like she was supposed to do, but I guess once she got the money, she changed her mind. All mechanics aren't bad.
That was a surprise.
That was.
For me.
Did not think it was going to go that way when we reviewed it
When
earlier.
we talked about it, I looked at it. When we spoke about it, I said, sort of using my life's history. Take the car in, don't worry, I'll work with the insurance company, does a little bit more work. The insurance company sends a check for a little less. But he wasn't at fault. She was the hustler.
Yeah, he wasn't trying to make an extra quick buck like a lot of mechanics that we've seen. He did the work.
He did the work. Because she didn't bring the car in there just for the back windshield.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hustle.
It seemed that way. As soon as somebody says, oh, that thing from then has nothing to do with why we're here now, immediate red flag.
Bing, bing.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm glad that worked out. And
me too. I'm
she's
glad
not
you
gonna
gave
get
him the money.
And